B, what's going on? How you doing? Um, all right, B, how you feeling today? How you doing? I am trying something new out. I am trying to go live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time. Um, the thing that sucks is that TikTok does not record the chat. So when people ask questions, people can't see what questions were asked unless I like say it out loud. Or they don't know what questions are asked out loud unless I say it out loud. So on YouTube, the chat actually saves. So I'm trying my best to go live on YouTube and TikTok so that way if people want to rewatch the live, they're able to because the questions are there. That way they can keep up with the conversation as if they were actually there doing the live. So I'm trying something new today. I don't know how it's going to work out because I've never done it before, but we're going to figure it out. Tabby, happy Friday. Mo, how you doing today? Carla, how you feeling today? You doing questions now? I'm always doing questions. You're always free to ask a question as long as it's not pertaining to politics or religion. Feel free to ask any question you all want. Carla, I'm doing great. I got my breakfast going. I got some some oranges and grapes. I got my water, and I'm good. You said I guess I'm okay. Is it better than yesterday, Mo? Out of curiosity. Got to go to the fruit market again. We're out of fruit. How do you feel about open marriages due to chronic illness? An open marriage due to chronic illness, I understand why that would be a thing as far as like, so if I use my wife and I as an example, if I or my wife had cancer or something like that and we only had a certain amount of time to live, or even if it wasn't a certain amount of time to live, but due to our illness, we couldn't be physically intimate in a way to have sex. Um, I understand the concept of having an open relationship and like still wanting to be with this person, but also still wanting to get your needs sexually met somewhere else. For me personally, even and granted, I'm not in the situation, so it's easier for me to speak on it without actually being in the situation. But I feel like, based off how I feel now, regardless if my wife was sick or not, I couldn't see myself physically intimate with another individual, whether she was chronically ill or not. Um, I'm not gonna say that sex or intimacy isn't important for a relationship, but what I am saying is that sex and intimacy comes in different forms, and you can still get pleasure and satisfaction from your relationship with your partner. Also, just speaking on for my opinion, I am personally okay with not or with going without being intimate if at all necessary because I still want to be with my partner. It's not what my partner's capable of giving me in that form of sexually. It's just my partner in general who I want to spend the rest of my life with and who I want to be with. So me personally, I feel like it's not a bad thing if you are an individual who wants to do an open relationship because you want to be not courteous. That's not the word I'm looking for. But you take your partner into consideration, knowing that they have needs that might need to be met, and because of the circumstances, you're willing to have that open relationship, so your partner is free to go fulfill those needs, but still be with you in a relationship. But I feel like me personally, I couldn't and wouldn't want to do it. When I say when death until death do us part, like I genuinely mean that. And even if my partner were to pass away, I don't see myself getting with anybody else. And it's not because I wouldn't want to do this again. It's not because like I don't feel like there's nobody else out there for me. It's just that the type of love that my partner and I have, I know for a fact that I will not find that again with anybody else. And I know that because my wife is an extraordinary woman. And for me to possibly replicate a love like what we have with somebody else, I don't think it's possible in this lifetime at the very least. So I know for a fact that I'd be single for the rest of my life. I'd be single and living, having a farm somewhere, trying to keep busy, gardening and stuff like that. But I just know that I personally, even no matter if I was chronically ill or she was chronically ill, I don't think it'd be for me. And also, I can't speak for my wife. I don't know how she would feel about it. I don't know if she feels the same way as far as like she wouldn't be open to an open relationship or she would be. But I just know for me, my personal opinion, I couldn't do it and I wouldn't want to do it. I said breakfast. Wow, it's 2 a.m. here where I am in Australia. Yeah, I woke up late. I had a bad night of sleep last night. I don't know what it was. Every time I went to go fall asleep, I would like shake and wake up, and I would just look around and not fall back to sleep into a deep sleep. And I'll shake and wake up, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stay up until I get extremely tired. And I didn't get extremely tired until about 5 a.m. So I ended up going to sleep, and I had a late start today, to say the least. What is your definition of cheating? My definition of cheating is giving time and attention to anybody outside of the relationship that I and my partner have. When I say time and attention, I mean like when if I'm entertaining somebody else, if I'm entertaining another woman emotionally, so if I'm there to console her feelings and her emotions because she's going through hard times or she's going through something, that's not my job. Like, granted, if this is a friend and like they just need somebody to talk to, something like that, that's fine. But it's not my job to be their consistent emotional support, and it takes away from my relationship with my wife. It's not my job to be there physically for another woman when I need to be there physically for my wife. So when I say time and attention, when I have to take away something that I'm giving my wife to give to another woman, I consider that to be cheating. I'm not saying that I can't have friends. I'm not saying that I can't have friends of the opposite sex. What I am saying is that it is not my responsibility to show up for somebody else outside of my relationship in ways where they need to go seek that service by other means, meaning like there's counseling, there's therapy, there's they can pursue a partner who's going to be there for them, or they can pursue a platonic friendship who's going to be there for them on a consistent basis. But it's not my responsibility to fill that role. Um, and everybody has a different definition of cheating. Like some people's definition of cheating is like if they are intimate with somebody else, but like if they text somebody else, that's no big deal. But once they cross that line of intimacy, that's considered to be cheating. I know me personally, I just don't give time and attention to other people. I don't hang out with other women one on one. I don't text women at all hours of the night. Like if it's past 9 o'clock and you text my phone, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. Um, I don't any time that I have to question my actions, or I feel like I have to sneak around, or I feel like I have to lie because a lie is better than the truth, I'm cheating. Um, I mean, I just feel like there's so many different variables and aspects of cheating, and everybody's once again definition of cheating is way different. But I just feel like for me personally, I never want to put my partner in a position to where she has to question anything. She has to wonder what's going on. She's uncomfortable with anything. She's questioning the relationship between me and somebody else. I don't want to do that, and I will never do that. I never want to raise anxiety in my relationship with my wife on purpose because of my selfish wants and needs, and or defend another woman because my wife told me, "Oh, I'm uncomfortable with you talking to her." And I'm like, "Relax, babe. She's just a friend." At that point in time, it feels like to me that I'm choosing another woman over my wife, and that's a no no. I would never do something like that. Sarah, how you doing today? How you feeling? Tabby, you want to welcome. Glad you take your vows seriously. I love that. Even if my wife and I weren't married, I just take her seriously. I take this relationship seriously. I take what we have seriously. And I feel like at this point, I'm 30 years old. And I feel like at a certain point in your life, if you're not taking relationships seriously, then what are you doing? Like, at a certain point, you got to understand you're too old to be playing fuck games. Like, excuse me, there has to be a line that's drawn for you to say, okay, I want a serious relationship or I don't want a relationship. And that's fine. If you don't want a relationship and you just want to experience other people, when I mean by experience other people, if you just want to sleep around or if you want to be intimate with other people, or if you just want to experience experiences with other people, that's great. But like, be upfront and be straightforward about that, because the worst I feel like you could do is give somebody the impression as if you want to be in a relationship with them and they're taking you serious and they're pouring into you and they're giving you time they genuinely don't have, but they're genuinely making time for you because they want this to turn into something, and you're playing games with their mind and their feelings in their heart. That's not okay. If this is not what you want, say that, and then go find somebody else who's on the same in the same boat as you. But don't give the impression as if you want something serious. And if you do want something serious and you realize that the person you're pursuing is playing games, or they're not consistent, or they're not showing up in ways you want them to as a partner, then it might be time for you to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? I feel like we're looking for two separate things, or we're on two separate pages. But from the beginning of my wife and I's relationship, when we were just we met off Tinder. My wife and I met off the dating app Tinder. And from the time we met off Tinder, we both were straightforward and honest about our intentions. Our intentions was, hey, we want a committed relationship with no bullshit. And 4 years later, we still have a committed relationship with no bullshit. Um, and I'm not saying that we're perfect, and we have done things that made each other uncomfortable, but it wasn't intentional. It was unintentional because we are used to certain habits. So when I say it made each other uncomfortable, wasn't a means of like cheating or making each other question each other's actions. It was more so the way we handle conflict, me being an avoidant and her being an anxious person, the way we navigate conflict together at the beginning of our relationship made us uncomfortable because we weren't used to navigating conflict in a way that we did. But it calls for us to have conversation and explore as to why we did things the way we did, rather than get upset or feel like we're not compatible in that moment just because we don't see eye to eye or we don't agree on a certain topic. But I feel like, unfortunately, some people come into relationships with the mindset like, okay, I can have somebody stable at home, but I can also explore the single life and have these experiences with other people outside of my relationship. You can't have both. And I'm not saying, let me change that. You can't have both if the person you're in a relationship with is comfortable with it. But if they're not comfortable with it, then you can't have both in that situation. Let me clarify that. What do you think of long distance relationships from the very beginning? I feel like long distance relationships have the same context as relationships if it wasn't any distance between both individuals. What I mean by that is, it's still going to require work, it's still going to require communication, it's still going to require consistency, it's still going to require effort, it's still going to require all the things that, I guess, I hate to say a normal relationship would, but a relationship that's in closer proximity, I feel like it's going to have the same concept. But the only difference is the physicality. Like, you're not going to be able to cuddle with this person and be with this person physically and be with this person intimately, in a sense of sexually and stuff like that, because of the distance between you two, and it won't be as often depending on how far the distance is. But that doesn't mean that a long distance relationship can't work. I just feel like it's going to take maybe a little bit more intentional effort for a long distance relationship to work, because that physical aspect isn't there. So you kind of have to supplement that for something else that's going to be beneficial to both of you in a relationship that's going to help you both thrive. Um, I personally have not had a lot of experience with long distance relationships. I've had one long distance relationship in my entire life, just because I know for a fact that I can't do long distance, from the beginning anyway. So like, if my wife and I had to go long distance for some odd reason, so like if I had to travel for work, or we had to be there to stay for a few months, whatever the case is, could we do it right now? Absolutely. But from the beginning, when you're just getting to know this person and get to know who they are and where they come from, and trying to be vulnerable, um, over the phone or through text or through FaceTime, I feel like would be a lot harder for me, because I enjoy that in person vulnerability, like conversation. I can read facial expressions, I can hear the tone and the fluctuation in the voice, I can see nonverbal cues, I can pay attention to your demeanor, all the things. But I don't get that same um, I don't get those same aspects like over the phone or through FaceTime or through text message, because I don't know when you send a text message. The only difference I know if you're serious or not is if you put caps or if you put like an exclamation point or different punctuation. Like I don't get the same. I guess it doesn't feel the same as far as connection is concerned for me personally. But that doesn't mean that long distance relationships can't work. I just haven't had a lot of experience with them personally. The true JSB. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm doing good. Happy Friday. Hope all is well with you, Sarah. Hey, girl. Hey, all is well with me. All is great. All is great. I'm having a hard time today. It started to hit me. I'm going through old messages and pictures. Why is it hitting you so hard out of curiosity, Mo, if you don't mind me asking? I need to get out. I don't find an apartment. He gets worse every day. Um, I understand that finding an apartment or finding anywhere to stay in this economy is hard because the way money and everything's set up. So I'm not gonna say that it's easy to just up and move out, because it's not. And if it was, you've already done it. But I do know that I have been in relationships in the past where the relationships were so detrimental that I was willing to be homeless rather than to continue to live with the people that I was living with in the past in relationships, because it was so detrimental for my mental and physical and emotional health. And when I say homeless, I mean like literally sleeping in my car, showering at the gym, sleeping on people's couches. Like I was willing to go through the ringer because I wasn't willing to stay in the house or stay in a home with the individuals any longer, because it was just so detrimental. Um, and not telling you to be homeless. I'm not telling you to do what I did. What I am saying is that I understand where you're coming from, in the sense where you're with the individual who's, it's almost like they're using that because they know you have nowhere to go. So it doesn't matter how bad they get, you have no choice but to tolerate it to a certain extent. But me personally, I would rather drag my bare ass across hot cement before I deal with the individual who is gonna mistreat me because they feel like they can. Thank you all for the likes, by the way. Love Lila droppings. We appreciate that. I'm just so used to talking to him every day and seeing him, so now I don't. I'm in my feelings. So you just miss the companionship that you had with him. Is that what I'm getting from that, Mo? Hoping he don't pop up, because I feel like I'll fold, but I don't think he. I think he won't this time. Well, you never know. Um, and if you do decide to, I guess, fold, or if you do decide to put yourself in a position to where you give back in because you miss what was, keep in mind that even though you're missing the healthy parts of what was, or you're missing the parts that brought you joy, keep in mind the parts that brought you pain. Keep in mind the parts that caused you to be in the situation you're in now, to where you can't no longer be a part of the good parts anymore because you had to separate yourself because of the bad parts. So yes, you missed the conversation, you missed the interactions, you missed the comfort that he brought you, but you also don't miss the cheating, you also don't miss the lying, you also don't miss the anxiety, you also don't miss the wondering, you also don't miss the things that he intentionally made choices to put you through for his own selfish needs and wants, because he felt like it was easier to lie and to cheat than it was to actually be vulnerable and work through the things with you. So I'm not saying that to say, no, don't go back to him. But what I am saying is that when he pops up, you have to identify, like genuinely analyze and weigh out your pros and your cons, and ask yourself, like, if I go down this road again, will I repeat the same actions again because this person hasn't changed? And more likely, if the person hasn't changed, then you're going to repeat the same actions because they're going to do the same thing, because they're going to react in the same ways every time a conflict comes up. So when things get too hard, what are they going to do? They're going to do what's normal for them and what's comfortable for them, which is to run away or to cheat or to lie or to hide, because that's what they're used to doing until they get to a position of change. But if they haven't changed, then you're going to endure the same thing again. You're going to be back to where you are now, missing who they could be and missing who they were prior to all the BS, but also acknowledge them in present day as to who they are now and the reason why you can't be with them because of who they are now. He said, I can't leave because of the dogs. I need to watch them when he's at work. See, in that case, I pay for a dog sitter. The way I pay for a dog sitter in the heartbeat, I pay a monthly subscription for a dog sitter. Like, you know what? Let the dog sitter deal with it. Sarah, thanks for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Oh, these grapes are really sour. I don't like that. Another thing is like trying to find an apartment complex that um, allows you to have animals. You don't have to pay a crazy animal deposit fee. So I know some apartments they make you pay. Like I know the apartment my wife and I just left before we moved into our home. I think it was maybe either between 100 or 250 extra a month for a pet deposit fee. Not just one time, like a security deposit, but like genuinely, like you have to pay a monthly fee for your pet to be there, which is crazy. Where are you? This is your office? Yeah, it is my office space. Well, our office space, I should say. But I spend the most time in here. Wifey just, she got she has like a desk. It's like, it's almost like a tray, but it's wooden, and then it has like a compartment for her iPhone. It has like a little mouse pad on it, and then she has her laptop where she could sit anywhere and then just get to work. So typically, I use the space. Unfortunately, I didn't set it up for an actual office yet. I set it up for a video game area. But I am trying to transition to an office slowly but surely. Can't handle the one dog outside. I can. Yeah, I get that. I get that. It's unfortunate when you have a tie. I hate to say tie. It's unfortunate when you have a reason to still interact with somebody, whether if it's children or if it's an animal or something like that, or if it's some type of debt, and you want to leave them, but this is the only thing that's keeping you in a proximity of them because you have to talk to them or you have to interact with them to a certain extent. So I get that. Video game area, office, same difference. And get work done. Yeah, it's pretty much an empty room. Well, I can't say it's not empty now. I got cleaning supplies in here. I got stuff that I need to hang up on the wall. It's so much stuff to do. It's so much stuff to do. Pierre, you want to welcome for the advice. You want to welcome. It's just so much stuff to do all the time. One of the things people don't really talk about when it comes to a house, because they make a house sound so great. Like, it's go get a house. It's so great. They don't talk about the maintenance that comes with that. It's so much maintenance that comes with the house. So much maintenance. It makes me miss the days of an apartment because I didn't have to cut grass in an apartment. Got to cut grass now at a house. I got to cut so much grass because we live on about an acre and a half of land, which means that I'm not getting a push lawnmower. I mean, I have to have a push lawnmower because we have like a little ditch area in front of our house that my riding lawnmower won't go across, or else it'll tip over. But it's just so much grass, and I got to cut it twice a week. And then we have a pool, and that requires chemical maintenance. And then we have like hedges you got to cut. Then there's inside the house cleaning. Oh, that's my wife. My wife is home. Oh, my bad, y'all. That's my wife. Oh, I can't wait till she get in here. I miss her. Um, but yeah, it's just a lot. And then the laundry. Oh man, laundry don't stop. I need at this point. I might just buy a laundromat. It might be cheaper for me to just buy a laundromat than to wash all the clothes at home. It's just so, it's just so much maintenance. But it's okay though. It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have because the apartment we lived in, our neighbors downstairs and our neighbors upstairs were so loud. Like our neighbors upstairs. So we had neighbors upstairs. They lived in a three-bedroom apartment, but it was, I think it was like 7 or 8 adults who were living in it. So it was just so loud. And then our neighbors downstairs had children, and they used to throw like the ball. They used to throw balls at the ceiling, which would be our floor. So you every so often you hear boom, 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 which is fine because we got kids and we understand how it is being in an apartment. But it's just like, and then like in the middle of the night, you hear random noises, people outside yelling and screaming because we lived in an apartment complex. Excuse me, but now in the house, we don't hear none of that. We don't. Our neighbors come outside, they say hello, we say hello, we mind our business, they mind theirs. Like it's beautiful. Said that you still have to fold it one step at a time. One step at a time. You're going too fast for me. You tell me. Yoo-hoo.
Hi, baby.
Hey, honey.
Are you using the iPad?
I am. Do you need it?
I don't need it, but it has my phone on Do Not Disturb because the iPad is on Do Not Disturb.
Oh.
So we need to figure out how to make my notifications stop going to the iPad.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know they were connected like that. I just assumed.
I didn't realize. I figured that was what it was because I was on the phone and then I saw that when I got off my phone, I saw it was on Do Not Disturb. And I was like, that's weird. But I knew that you were going to use the iPad today, so I thought that's why. So we can play with the settings later. I have to turn Do Not Disturb off.
That's fine, honey. I didn't realize it was.
This is look. You got a setup.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
Nice. So we'll just have to play with the settings later and see how to make that not do that.
How you doing, beautiful?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing. Are you hot?
Am I hot?
I mean, you are hot, but like, are you?
I am hot. I'm gonna go upstairs and pee and change and then eat something and then I have work to do.
Okay. You need me?
Also, I have tea.
You got tea?
I have tea.
That's my favorite.
So
when she come home with tea,
I got tea, babe.
she got tea.
It's hot.
It's hot tea, like boiling hot, like hot.
Baby.
Oh, with the look?
It's boiling.
Alright, so hey honey, can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you decide if you want them grapes or not? Cause I think they're going bad.
I'm gonna throw them away.
You gonna throw them away?
Yeah.
Alright. What do you think about spaghetti for dinner?
Sure.
I got the meat thawing out in the fridge. I just don't know what noodles you want to use.
I'll look.
Alright, thank you, honey. She got the tea. The tea? And it's piping hot? Shit, she almost made me in the live over the tea. Cause I'm yeah, boy, live for that tea. I don't be understanding, like, when guys get in a relationship with their woman, they're like, all my woman want to do is tell me about her day and tell me how she feel, and all she do is talk. Man, what you got? Well, how was your day, honey? Tell me what's going on. I'm invested. Shit, it's almost like keeping up with the Kardashians. Let me go hit it. Let me go hit it. Thomas and the T. Those men don't like their girlfriends. They don't. They don't. They. I can't say what I want to say because I don't want to get in trouble, but they want a man with lady parts. That's what they're looking for. that's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. They want a man who they can interact with and when it's convenient for them, but they want the lady parts when they want to get into it. You say he didn't commit to me for a while, but 2 months later, after we stopped talking, he has a girlfriend. Did he ever care? Or did he never care, rather? So my guess is just as good as yours. I'm going to start off by saying that because I don't know you, I don't know him, and I don't know the situation. But what I can assume and what I can infer is the same thing you can based off the information that you provided. So you said he didn't commit to you for a while, but 2 months after you started talking, he all of a sudden has a girlfriend. So it shows that it wasn't that he was lacking the capability to make you his girlfriend. It was just that he was lacking the decision-making skills, or I can't say decision-making skills because he decided not to get in a relationship with you, but he chose not to be in a relationship with you. That's the only thing I can assume. I'm just going based off what I'm using my English. I'm inferring from the context clues based off what you're telling me that he might not have wanted a relationship with you. Or maybe he didn't know you wanted a relationship the way you do, or maybe he was too afraid to get a relationship with you, or maybe there's a reason why he didn't want a relationship with you, or there could be a number of reasons. And I feel like you can go down this rabbit hole and continue to guess and guess and guess. Well, he didn't like me, or I wasn't good enough, or he didn't care about me, or I wasn't his type, or maybe she was better than me, or maybe she. All we can say is he didn't want a relationship with you for whatever reason, but he wanted a relationship with this girl. But if you sit there and drive yourself crazy because you're never going to know the answer unless you genuinely ask him, and that's going to require him to be vulnerable, it's going to require him to be upfront about what happened and why it happened and why he made the decisions that he made. And unless you have faith that he's going to be able to answer those questions under those conditions, you're never going to get a genuine answer. So for you to stress yourself out wondering why didn't he want you, why didn't he want to be with you, find somebody who does want to be with you. Find somebody who is upfront about how they feel. Find somebody who can be vulnerable with you and be upfront about you and be transparent with you about what they're looking for when it comes to a partner. But I don't know if he never loved you. I don't know if he never cared about you. I don't know. He might, because he could have cared about you but not want a relationship with you. He could have not cared about you but did want a relationship with you. Who knows? I don't know, right? But I feel like if you drive yourself crazy, wonder about the what ifs and what could have been, and did he feel this way? What was on his mind? What was he thinking? You're not going to know the answer to any of that unless you ask the source. You have to ask the credible source. Not a source is going to give you an answer that you want to hear or give you an answer that's not going to hurt your feelings. They're going to give you a genuine answer regardless of how you're going to react because this is what their thought process was and this is how they were feeling in the moment when they made the decisions that they made. Shagufa, thank you for the follow. Do you feel like if he was talking with me that he can just change overnight and be a great boyfriend for her? You said, do you feel like if he was talking with me that he can just change overnight and be a great boyfriend for her? I don't see why he couldn't. And who's to say he is a great boyfriend for her? Who's to say that at the beginning of the relationship he's just doing what he feels like is right for her to maintain a relationship up front, and then when he go to handle conflict, he fails at handling conflict and the relationship goes to crap because he's too afraid to be vulnerable and to express his feelings and emotions. And everything looks great on the surface from the outside looking in because you don't see their day to day when it comes to their conversation and their interactions, but you're assuming based off what you're perceiving that everything is great. And he's being this amazing man for her that he couldn't be for you. But on the inside of their relationship, they're fighting like cats and dogs every single day because they fail to navigate conflict and they're on the verge of breaking up. But you don't know that because you're on the surface looking from the outside in. Like I said before, you would drive yourself crazy wondering what if or what could have happened, what could have changed. You don't know. But what you do know is that this person does not want to be with you. And if your goal is to find somebody who does want to be with you, then continue on that path until you reach that goal. And I understand you might want it to be him. Why can't it be him? I want to be with him. I love him. I care for him. But both of you have to feel the same way. It has to be a mutual feeling. It has to be reciprocated. And because it's not a mutual feeling and it's not reciprocated, you can't force somebody to be with you. You can't bribe somebody to be with you. They have to want to choose to be with you. That's the only way the relationship's going to work. And if he's not choosing you, he's choosing somebody else, then find somebody who's going to choose you. Misha, you said, wait. I don't mean to be a bother, but how to tell someone I am done, but the door's open if he wants to try again. So why are you giving them the option to try again instead of telling them they need to do better right now, or there's like how do I say this? Instead of telling them that they have a second chance to be with you, why can't they just be the person that they need to be right now in order to have a relationship with you? It's not that they're lacking the capability, it's just that they're not making the choice to do so. Like they have the ability to be the person that you would want to be with. They have the ability to sweep you off your feet and to love you and care for you the way you want to be loved, but they're just choosing not to. But you're saying, hey, so I understand that you're not choosing me right now in this moment, and I get that. So I don't want to be with you right now until you decide to change. But when you do change, you can always hit me up and be with me again if you want. But the door is open if you choose to do that. If you don't choose to do that, then I don't want to be with you. Like, why are you leaving that to be an option instead of telling them, like, hey, if we can't work this out right now, then I'm going to find somebody else who I don't have to wait to change. I don't have to wait for them to be somebody different. I don't have to wait for them to show up and be their authentic selves and love me the way I need to be loved. Why are you leaving this door open out of curiosity? Why are you giving them the keys for them to come and go as they please? Because then it tells them, hey, so I can treat this person any kind of way And if I don't want to change right now, then it's all right. I could just leave and come back, and then I could try this again. I could leave and come back and try this again. I could leave and come back and try this again. Why are you leaving that door open? Out of curiosity. Chrissy's bro, thanks for the follow. Um, it's hard to let go when you care more than them. Well, you have to understand, why do you care for somebody who doesn't care about you? That's a you thing. That has nothing to do with them. That is a you thing that has nothing to do with you. I mean, nothing to do with them, rather. So you're saying, I care about them more than they care about me. Even though they didn't choose me, even though they don't love me, even though they don't want to be with me, even though they told me up front they don't want a relationship with me. And then not only do they not want a relationship with me, but they found a relationship with somebody else. So it wasn't that they weren't ready for a relationship. They just didn't want a relationship with me. But I still care about them so much. And it's hard to let them go. That's something within you that you have to identify. Why do you feel that way? And you can say, well, because I love them and I care for them and they treated me so well. I hear you, and that's great if they were in a relationship with you, but they chose to be with somebody else. So why are you still holding on to somebody who was never for you? Why are you still holding on to somebody who's not choosing you the way you're choosing them? That's something internal within you that you have to figure out and work on. It's going to be hard for someone to change if they know you'll always be there. That's a fact. Sir, greet me with my drip. Max, how you feeling today? I blocked a guy because he was acting vague about an appointment we had and disrespecting my time for like the fourth time. Looking back, I regret blocking him because we already decided to just stay friends instead of date. Blocked him today, but do you have any tips on getting over the shame? Um, why do you feel shame? Think about this. You made a decision. Why did you make that decision? You made that decision because you felt like he disrespected your time. He wasn't considerate of how you felt and how much time you were willing to give to that situation. So therefore, you felt like in that moment, it was smart to just block him. You made that decision because you felt like that was the best decision in that moment. Now looking back, you feel like you should have navigated the situation differently. If you'd have navigated the situation differently, it's not to say it would have turned out any differently. You still would be in the same situation right now where they just want to be friends with you. But yet you're holding on to some shame and you're placing blame on yourself and you're holding yourself accountable for something that you feel like was the best decision to make at that time because there was a cause and effect. So because you feel like they weren't courteous of your time, you decide to block them because you'd be damned if you get taken for granted. And now you feel bad for doing that. Why? That's a decision that you feel like was best at that time. Why are you beating yourself up over the decisions that you did for yourself? Or you made for yourself, rather. How to solve a communication issue between someone who needs space and someone who wants to solve it now. It sounds like an avoidant and an attachment. So what my wife and I did at the beginning of our relationship, I was an avoidant. My wife was an anxious attachment. So I was an avoidant and she was an anxious attachment. So my wife wanted to deal with conflict right here, right now. She doesn't care what's going on. She needs to deal with it right here, right now. Because if she don't, what happens is her anxiety gets the best of her. Because her anxiety would tell her in the past that I don't care, I don't want to work it out. I'm angry at her. She's stupid. She's dumb. She shouldn't even try. Should she try? Should she push me away? Shouldn't she push me away? And her anxiety was having her go back and forth. It was like having a devil and an angel on her shoulder. She's going back and forth like this because all she knows is right now, in her internal being, she is hurt, she is upset, and she's frustrated, but she wants to deal with it right now, but she also wants to be... Yes, honey.
You want a chicken sandwich?
No, thank you.
Do you need anything?
No, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it.
I
love you too. All she knows is that right now in this moment, she wants to deal with it. She wants to talk about it. She wants to work through it. But for me, I'm not used to doing that. And of course, all this is coming from like past relationships and trauma. So there's underlining reasons as to why we deal with things the way we do, or why we dealt with things the way we did in the past, rather. So I needed, as an avoidant, I needed time to process what's going on. I needed time to process what's happening. But as an anxious person, she's already ran through every single scenario in her head. She's already ran through a script. If I say this, she's already got to reply for that. If I say this, she's already got to reply for that. If this goes this way, she already knows she's going to reply this way. Like, she's already ran through it in her head, but I need time to process it. I need time to sit with it. I need time to regulate my feelings and my emotions. I need time to understand what I want to say. I need time to dissect it. I need a moment. But when it looks like I'm avoiding the situation, it looks like I don't care from her perspective as an anxious person, because if I cared, I'd be dealing with her right now. If I cared, I'd be talking to her right now in this moment. If I cared, I'd be present right now. And it's not that I didn't care, I just didn't handle it the same way she did. So based off her perception, I didn't care. But based off my perception as an avoidant person, because she didn't give me time, because she wasn't courteous of what I needed, it looked like she didn't care. She wasn't courteous because she wanted what she wanted right there in that moment, and that's all she cared about. So how do we bridge this miscommunication? How do we acknowledge that we both care, we both want to be present, but the way we handle this conflict and the way we navigate this looks so much different? To answer your question, Yari, I'm answering questions on TikTok. So my TikTok is Ryan's_truth_. So I'm answering questions on TikTok and I'm answering questions on YouTube to answer your question. So how do we bridge this gap in communication? So we bridge this gap in communication by saying, hey, so here's what I need. Let me understand what you need. And then how can we find a common ground in what we both need? So right now in this moment, you want to deal with things right here and there, right here and right now. But I don't think I can handle things right here and right now. So is it okay for you as an anxious person if I take 5 minutes to myself to go in the other room? I'm not gonna leave you. I want this relationship to work. I want to be here with you. I love and I care for you, and I adore you. I appreciate you, and I want to talk about this. But right now in this moment, I don't think I can talk about it. Is it okay with you if I get 5 minutes to deal with this? And you might say, hey, well, you know what? I don't feel like I can give you 5 minutes because I need to get this off my chest, but I can wait 5 minutes for you to reply if that's okay. And I can say, okay, I'm willing to hear you out as long as I don't have to reply in this moment. I'm willing to hear you out in this moment as an anxious person. I'm willing to hear you out so that you can at least get this off your chest so you're not holding on to this. And then give me 5 minutes to come back and reply and give you my reply. Is that okay? But it's essentially trying to figure out a common ground in the mix of navigating the way the way we navigate conflict. So as an avoidant person, I navigate a certain way. As an anxious person, she navigates it a certain way. But it still requires conversation, because if nothing is said, then everything's left up to perception. Perception is left up to your personal interpretation. If your personal interpretation is assuming worst case scenario, then you're assuming as an anxious person, I don't care. And as an avoidant person, I'm going to assume that you don't care. And I don't want to do that, and you don't want to do that. So the only way to bridge that gap is to communicate, to say, hey, I think I need 5 minutes to reply. And for you as an anxious person to say, hey, I need to get this off my chest right now. So can I get this off my chest and then you can take your 5 minutes? Or can we deal with this right here, right now? And then maybe we try to have this conversation now. And if it doesn't work out, then we take time and then we come back and try to have this conversation. But it's essentially trying to figure out what that common ground looks like between you as an anxious person and another person as an avoidant person, to figure out how to navigate this. Because you don't hate each other. You don't want to leave the relationship. You want the relationship to work. It's just that you two are on the same subject but speak in different languages, so you two don't understand why things are the way they are. And avoiding, like I said, avoiding anxious attachment styles stem from trauma, or they stem from childhood, or stem from personal past experiences. But now that you are in a situation to where you have to navigate conflict, it's not that your feelings and emotions are more important than other person's feelings and emotions. It's that both your feelings and emotions matter and they're both equally important. But how do you convey that to where you're taking this person into consideration, you're taking this person into consideration, but also identifying that you're taking yourself into consideration too, because you have wants and needs as well. So how do you do that? And I feel like that calls for communication, ironically, between an anxious and an avoidant person, to say, okay, I need to get outside of myself and understand that I'm in a relationship with another person. I have to take them into consideration and convey my feelings and my thoughts to them, because they're not a mind reader, and vice versa, and then go from there. I am very behind on comments and questions. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. Give me 1 minute. Hey, honey. Is it alright if I close this door?
No, sorry.
Actually, can you close this door for me?
Give me just a second.
Take your time. I appreciate it.
Sorry to be loud.
It's okay. You're not loud, honey.
Liar.
Huh?
I said liar.
I'm not a liar.
Liar.
Give me a kiss.
Just trying to make a cheeky sandwich.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you. Goodbye. Yeah. Don't look.
Got that. That dumpy. Where am I? Why is this camera so crooked? Sorry. Try to fix this camera real quick. All right, there we go. I realized afterwards I'm annoyed at the way we decided friends because I think he is avoiding. I'm okay with the outcome, but I just feel like I want to express my annoyance about it. Do you think it would be worth it? Excuse me. So if you two are deciding to be friends, I don't feel like. Okay, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Let me start off by saying that, but let me get it out. If you two are in a committed relationship with each other, yes, it is his responsibility to be there for you emotionally, mentally, physically, etc., so on and so forth. So at that point in time, you can express your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and expect him to be present for that and expect him to have a genuine conversation about your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, regardless of how he feels about the situation, because it's his job as a partner who's committed to you in a relationship to do so. But if he's just your friend, he has no obligation to your emotional needs. Now, granted, you would expect a friend to be there for you, to console you, to check in on you, to make sure you're good, to be a shoulder for you to lean on, shoulder for you to cry on, etc., so on and so forth. But he doesn't have a commitment to you the way an intimate partner would. So therefore, he doesn't have any reason to hear about how you feel about the situation and how you feel about the fallout and how you feel about all the things. And if you don't want to be friends with him because you can't see him as just a friend and you see him as more than a friend, then you at that point in time might have to consider that is this friendship beneficial or is it healthy for you, because you want more, but because you can't have more, you're willing to settle for less. And settling for less is putting you in a place of complacency to where you're not happy, but you're willing to stay in a complacent place because you don't want to lose this person in the sense of not have interactions with them. But at the same time, you want more with them, but you can't get more with them because they don't want more with you. So therefore, you're willing to stay friends with them and just to stay in a place of complacency to have something rather than nothing. And now you have relationship expectations for somebody who's just a friend who doesn't want to be more, but now you're frustrated because you want to express it, you want to get this off your chest, but you can't because they don't have that commitment nor that obligation to you to be that person for you. That's what I'm perceiving from your situation. And if that's the case, then I'm not saying your feelings and emotions aren't valid, but what I'm saying is that your feelings and emotions might not matter in the situation to where when you express them to him, he might not be not coherent. He might not be as he might not react in the way you would want him to or expect him to as a friend or as a partner in a sense. I feel like I failed at something. I really tried, and letting him go is confirmation that I failed. Why are you looking at it? Why are you looking at the situation as pass or fail instead of acknowledging that not every situation is going to work out the way you thought it would or the way you wish it would? Why are you looking at it as it's all your fault instead of taking into consideration the other factors? Because it requires two individuals at the very least to be in a committed relationship. Why aren't you considering the factors, the part he played in to help you get to the point where you two are right now, to where you have to consider if you want to be with him or not and leave the door open to the possibility of being with him if he decides to change. But if he doesn't change, you can't be with him because of the circumstances. Why are you taking all the blame on you as if this was the only attempt that you ever had at love and you failed at it, so therefore you're undeserving of the love because you feel like this person who's not capable, I won't say they're not capable because they do have the capability, but they're choosing not to love you the way you should be and need to be loved. And therefore you feel like you failed due to their shortcomings, I should say. Why are you looking at it as that? Why are you looking at it as pass and fail instead of looking at it as a learning lesson and understanding that this person just might not be for you, or you two might not be compatible, or the situation might need to look different with somebody else, or it might not just be your time, or maybe you have more work to do internally, or maybe they have more work to do internally, or whatever the case is. Like, why aren't you considering other factors? Why are you just assuming that, oh, I failed, so I'm stupid, I'm dumb, and this is just confirmation that I'm stupid and I'm dumb? Why are you taking it as that? Was your wife able to get over her anxious attachment style? If so, how? Reassurance, security, knowing that. To answer your question, yes. I was able to work through my avoidance. She was able to work through her anxious. And I feel like we both required the same thing. Even though our attachment styles look different, we both required the same thing, which was knowing that this situation is safe. Knowing that me as a partner and her as a partner, we're not gonna leave each other. We're not gonna walk away. We don't hate each other. We're not gonna mistreat each other. We're not gonna use each other's trauma against each other. This situation's safe. providing each other reassurance, saying, hey, I got you, everything's okay, I love you, I'm not gonna leave, I appreciate you, thank you for opening up to me, thank you for being here with me, thank you for consoling me, thank you for hearing me out, thank you for showing up, thank you for making time for me. Like, that reassurance means a lot. um, Consistency, knowing that, like, no matter what time it is, no matter what day it is, no matter what's going on, I know for a fact that I could come to you about anything and everything, and there's no such thing as a stupid question, there's no such thing as a stupid response, there's no such thing as me being stupid, there's no such thing as the way I'm feeling being stupid. I know for a fact that no matter what, you're gonna validate my feelings and you're gonna validate my feelings and my emotions, and know that I'm a human being and I'm a person and I'm going through something. And not only do you see me as a human being, but you see me as somebody who you love and you hold dear. And even though I might see myself as stupid, I might see myself as dumb, I might see myself as somebody who's been through a lot and I'm not worthy of the love, you still remind me that I am worthy of the love that you give. I am worthy of being loved. I am worthy of loving. I am worthy of being seen. I am worthy of being heard. I am worthy of you showing up and making time for me. I am worthy. And we both needed the same thing, just what we needed might have looked different. But even though we had different attachment styles, me being avoidant and her being anxious, just all of those things played a huge part in saying, hey, I can open up. I don't need to take 5 to 10 minutes to process what's going on. I can sit there in the moment, and it's not awkward for me to just sit here and not say nothing. But even though I'm not saying nothing, this person is willing to have patience and understanding and wait for me to speak when I'm ready, and still be present with full energy, and showing up for me when I am ready to speak. And for this person to, I know it's hard for this person to not want to take space right now, but the fact that they're here and they're not taking space for me as an anxious person, they're not taking space for me, and they're showing up and they're here for me and they're consoling me, that means a lot, because I know it took a lot of work on their part to do that, and they were willing to put in that work to show up for me. That says a hell of a lot. So just moments like that is what helped us work through those attachments, but also working through our own personal trauma and our own past relationships experiences as individuals, but also working on each other's trauma and working on each other's past experiences together, but also building this healthy environment to do so together in our relationship, to say, hey, it's safe here. No matter what, you can, this is home. This is home base. So no matter how bad the world gets, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you feel, no matter what's on your mind, you can always call home, you can come home, you can be at home, and it's gonna be safe regardless. And home is wherever I am, and home is wherever she is. And no matter wherever she is, no matter where I am, no matter if it's over the phone or if it's in person, I could come home and I could call home, and it's safe. It's comfortable, it's consistent. I know what to expect. I don't have to leave the house and wonder, okay, is this gonna be an argument, or did I do something wrong, or are they secretly holding animosity against me, or are they secretly wanting to say something but just holding, they're not saying nothing? Are they genuinely pissed off? Are they genuinely upset? Like, I know for a fact that if my wife's uncomfortable with something, she'll tell me. If I'm uncomfortable with something, I'll tell her. If something's on my mind, I'll tell her. If something's on her mind, she'll tell me. I don't ever have to wonder. I don't ever have to have anxiety. I don't have to question something. And if I do have to question something, it's as easy as me saying, hey, honey, I got a question. She's like, yeah, what's going on? Can I ask you X, Y, and Z? And she's like, yeah, let's talk about it. And no matter what she's doing in that moment, to a certain extent, like if she's genuinely like locked in to work or something like that, she'll be like, give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes and we'll talk about this. 5 minutes later, all right, honey, I'm done. What's going on? Let's talk about it. That's a big deal. Because the fact that you were that busy and you made time for me, that says a lot. So it's just different factors that played a role in us getting out of that mental, emotional state to get to where we are right now, to where we're both just comfortable. We're both secure. We're both knowing. I think a lot of people say relationships like this seem boring because it's the same thing over and over again. Like, you know what to expect. And for me, I love that. I know what to expect. I know that I can come to my partner, she's going to talk about it. And I can come to my partner, she's going to work through it. And I think unfortunately, a lot of people see chaos as a form of entertainment or as a form of fun in a relationship. So when there is moments where you have high anxiety because you don't know if your partner's texting somebody else or talking to somebody else, or if you don't know if your partner's going to be upset or mad, or your partner purposely starts an argument because they feel like they're so bored, we're too grown for that. There has to be a time where you grow up and say, that's unhealthy. There has to be a time where you acknowledge conflict like that, especially if it's on purpose. That's childish. That's shit that you shouldn't be doing. But when there is conflict, knowing that you can work through with your partner and it's safe and it's okay. You could be vulnerable. You could be yourself, and being yourself is so phenomenal because you don't have to afraid. You don't have to be afraid to be you. You don't have to put on another mask, or you don't have to suppress your own feelings and emotions, or you don't have to put your own feelings and emotions aside to constantly be there for somebody else, but know that they're not going to be there for you. And when they're good, they're good. But when you're not okay, they just ignore it or say it's your fault. You deal with it. Even though that I'm going through it, my partner takes it on and says, "Hey, it might not be my problem, but you not being okay, that is a problem for me, and I'm gonna make sure that you're okay. Let's talk about it. Let's work through it. It might not be my problem, but you not being okay is a problem for me. Let's work through it." You say, "I appreciate this perspective. I love that." Uh, why he just text me? Because he heard us talking about him. He in the live, low key. He in the live, low key. What if there's anger and I explain that to them? I've always explained that I need time to regulate myself, especially growing up with people who can't regulate themselves. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? You're human. You're gonna naturally react to situations. So when you're angry, it's okay that you're angry because you're human. When you're sad, it's okay that you cry because you're human. When you're happy, it's okay that you laugh because you're human. What's not okay is when you use your partner as an emotional punching bag. So because you're angry, you yell and you scream at your partner and you call them names or you hit them. It's not okay when you're sad and you're so overbearing with your emotions that instead of you expressing the way you feel, you blame the other person and say, "You always do this, you never care about me, you always do this." You using words like never and always, because that's not true. Your partner doesn't always do this. It might feel very frequent that they do it very often, but it's not always. Or they don't never do that, and that's not true because they do it sometimes. It might not be as often as you would like, but they do it sometimes. But when you say always and never, it makes it seem like they never have done it any time in a relationship, or they always do this in a relationship, and it makes it seem like they are the actual problem instead of acknowledging that there is a problem and that you want to work through it with them. That's a different conversation to have. So instead of saying, "You never show up for me, you never show up for me, and you always make me feel like everything else is more important than me," you can say, "Hey, I feel like I need you here with me, and I just want you to listen to me in this moment." So instead of making them feel like the problem, you're bringing up a problem and you're acknowledging that there's a problem, because the person themselves isn't a problem, but their actions or their words might actually be the problem. And this is what you're trying to address, is the actions or the words. You're not trying to address them as a person, tell them they need to change who they are. You're just telling them that you would like for them to change their actions and or their words. That's it. But when you make their actions and their words and you make that coincide with them as a problem, you say "you always" and "you never," now they're like, "Well, why am I here in a relationship? If I'm the problem, I might as well just leave the relationship then, because obviously I'm the problem and I don't want to be the problem for you, so I might as well just leave, right?" And you want to be with this person, but you don't like what they did or you don't like what they said. But you are human. You are allowed to react a certain way as long as you're not harming yourself or harming somebody else, or using them as an emotional puncher bag, or using yourself even as an emotional puncher bag, saying "I'm stupid and I'm dumb," or "I shouldn't be feeling this way." Yeah, you should be feeling that way. That's why you're naturally reacting the way you are. You are allowed to be upset. But when you are upset, this is when you say, "Hey, honey, right now in this moment, I'm angry." And I'm angry because when you had said that one thing to me, or when you didn't follow through on this one thing, it kind of upset me. And I just would like to talk about it, because in the midst of you talking about it, that's when you're able to dissect it. That's when you're able to understand why things happened the way they did and why they made the decision that they made. And that's when you're able to allow them to acknowledge that you might not have liked that, or it made you uncomfortable. And you're not looking at it in the lens of they purposely did that. My partner purposely did that. They don't care about me. They don't give a damn. They intentionally hurt me. You're looking at it from a lens of my partner did that, and I don't think they knew that it was going to make me uncomfortable, or maybe they assumed that it wasn't going to affect me the way that it did. But because it did affect me the way that it did, it's my responsibility to say, "Hey, I don't like that," because you're acknowledging that there's a problem, not that your partner's the actual problem. So it's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be upset, but it's not okay for you to take it out on your partner. And before you approach your partner, make sure you know exactly what the problem is. So because you don't want to be angry and then respond and say you always and you never and make them feel like the problem, you might identify, okay, shit, I'm angry. I'm mad right now. And you stop at that moment and go, why am I mad? Well, what just happened? Well, they just said something. Okay, what about what they said made me angry? Well, I don't like how they said that. Why don't I like how they said that? Because it triggered something within me that made me uncomfortable. Okay, what exactly about this made me uncomfortable? And then once you get to like the root cause of it, that's when you go to your partner and say, okay, I'm angry because, and you acknowledge that root problem, you bring that up and you work through that. You don't start all the way at the top and be like, okay, I'm angry because you said this. They go like, well, I can't tell a joke. Well, it's not the joke, it's what the joke was about or pertaining about. But at that point, they're already reacting because they feel like they can't tell a joke. And it wasn't that they can't tell a joke, it's just that the joke they told made you uncomfortable. And why did it make you uncomfortable? What kind of joke was it? And when you acknowledge and you get to that root cause, it cuts out all the extra emotion, the feeling, to where your partner can now focus on the actual problem with you instead of you going back and forth and saying, okay, this is the problem, okay, that's not the problem, okay, this is the problem, okay, that's not the problem, okay, this is the problem, okay, that's not the problem. Because now at that point in time, you two are both exhausted from going back and forth, from having constant conversation about what the problem could be instead of acknowledging what the problem actually is. Especially growing up with people who can't regulate themselves. I've always explained that I need time to regulate myself. I feel that, and you're not wrong for needing that time. But you have to express that you need that time to your partner and tell them how important that is to you. Because if like you have your partner, keep in mind that your partner is ignorant. When I say your partner is ignorant, it means lack of knowledge. They don't know because they never experienced something like this. And when there's and when there's not any information, they only go off perception. And based off their perception, they're gonna assume whatever it is they assume. So if you don't tell them, hey, I need space, and I need space for 10 minutes to regulate my feelings and my emotions, and I need to regulate my feelings and my emotions because right now I'm upset. And I'm not upset at you. I'm upset at what happened about the situation. And I want to talk to you about it, and I love you and I care for you, and I want to be here with you, and I want to be in this relationship with you. Just right now, I am unable to express the way I feel because I'm trying to figure out why I feel the way I feel. And I don't know why I feel the way I feel, but I know that something has made me uncomfortable. So I just need time to dissect that for myself so that way I can talk to you about that. What are your thoughts and your feelings? How do you feel about that? What is your thought process about that? Are you okay with me taking time away, or is there something you want to add to that, or is there more questions that you might have in that moment? And I understand not everybody has the capability to continue to have conversation once they get mad or upset. And it takes practice and it takes work. I'm not going to say everybody's perfect because I sure as hell wasn't perfect. And it took me time to say, I need a minute. As simple as that is, it took me time because I was in so many toxic relationships to where like I couldn't get a minute if I wanted to because they weren't trying to hear what I had to say. All they knew is that they were right, and because they were right, they were going to continue to go and go and go and go and go. And if I did anything else but endure the argument or endure the negativity, that showed that I didn't care. I didn't want to be there. I was running away from it. I'm always stonewalling. I never want to be present for it. I never. And I was in relationships like that. So when I get into a healthy relationship and I have a partner who says, okay, take as much time as you need, I'm like, am I being set up? Are you sure? And my partner's like, yeah, take as much time as you need. I understand and I get it. But she didn't understand and she didn't get it because at first my natural reaction, because I called it like a fight or flight response. And if when it because there's fight or flight and like naturally your survival instincts, but fight or flight emotionally. We either about to fight and argue right now, or I'm about to walk away from the situation because I don't want to fight and argue. And those were my only two options in past relationships until I realized there was a third option, which was to just talk about it. But how do you talk about it when it's unhealthy, when the environment's unhealthy, when the relationship's unhealthy, when your partner's unhealthy, and all they see is me, I. And if they're not okay, you're sure as hell ain't gonna be okay because all they care about is their feelings and their emotions and being right and you being wrong because they have to prove to you that they're right. But the reality of it is that you're right. And also your partner's right. It's just that you two need to explain why you feel the way you feel and why you see things the way you see it and learn how to navigate that conflict together as a team. I didn't know that until I got into a healthy relationship. My parents don't have a healthy relationship, didn't have healthy relationships, which is why they got a divorce. My step parents don't have a healthy relationship. The people around me didn't have healthy relationships. So how did I know there was another option? Until I discovered it and said, hey, we don't have to argue. We don't have to fight. We don't have to be at odds. We are a team. We love each other. We care for each other. We want to be together. We want this to work. How do we make it work? If we want it to work, how do we make it work? Just because no one laid out the roadmap prior to us means that it's time for us to go exploring. It's time for us to go discover this roadmap for ourselves. And hopefully we can be the foundation for other people to kind of follow our path, but also create their own, because maybe they're not heading in the same direction, but at least we can get them started on where to go because we started the path for them. Maybe we need to be the change we want to see. Maybe we need to be the example that we want for not only ourselves, but for other people to say, hey, it is possible to make it work. It is possible to talk about things. It is possible to communicate. It is possible to show up and say, hey, I want this. And it's not a crime for me to want this. I just don't know how to maintain it. I don't know how to be consistent in it. I don't know how to do this. And that's fair. But the drive of wanting to do it means that no matter what, you might not know how to do it, which means you're going to try this. And if that doesn't work, that's okay. It doesn't mean you fail. Doesn't mean you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that you're trying it, because you got to keep in mind, you didn't know how to do it. So there's no right way to do it, because you don't know what the right way looks like, because you never had the experience, whether if it was seeing somebody else doing it or your personal experience of actually doing it. So you're trying, you're making attempts, but at least you're making attempts, because when you do nothing at all and you just run away from it, or you just say, you know what, it's not worth it, or this isn't working after the first attempt, then it's never going to work, because how do you know what's going to work unless you continue to try? And we had to continue to try. And sometimes it takes other people more time. Some people, it takes people less time, because maybe they tried this instead of that sooner, and the other person tried this and tried this and tried this and tried this, and they finally got it right, or finally found something that worked for them. That's great. But it took trial and error for us to make it work. But also understanding, in the midst of trial and error, we didn't hate each other. We didn't want to fight. We didn't want to add fuel to the fire. It was just trying to understand what works and what doesn't work. And then when we do find something that works, it's imperative to get feedback. Hey, I like the way we handle that. How did you feel about that? Did you like the way we talked about that? Did that work for you? What do you feel like we could have done differently next time? Or what do you feel like work that you want to try again, that you want to implement into the next conversation? Because that's imperative too. Because how do we know we're doing it right? How do we know, okay, even though I know this worked for me, how do I know it worked for my partner? It might have worked this time, but maybe she wanted to try something different. Or maybe she had another thought that we didn't implement because we got to our solution faster than expected. And maybe she had something in mind. I don't know until I receive feedback and I know, okay, this works and this doesn't work. How do we know? And giving that reassurance, you're not getting that or in the way you're expecting. My boyfriend is anxious attachment style, and I'm avoiding, and that really opened my eyes. I hope it helped. I said something without thinking the other day, and my partner got mad / silent, went silent for 3 hours. Learning how to communicate in a way that doesn't cause him withdrawal has been a challenge. It is a challenge. But I think that when he gets upset, when he gets angry, instead of using that as a reason to create distance, I think in that moment, it requires him to say, hey, I didn't like what you said. Or, hey, I understand that you might be frustrated, but can we handle that a different way next time? Because we're trying to find ways to continue to love each other, not continue to push or create space away from each other. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, we have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So it takes intentional effort on both individuals' ends to say, okay, I didn't like that. I know you might not have purposely did that, or I know you might be having a hard day, and I just might be the nearest person to you you're taking your frustrations out on. Or even if he were to go silent for maybe an hour, then come back to you and say, hey, I need a space in that moment because I felt myself naturally reacting because you reacted to me. So because you yelled and screamed at me, I felt myself about to yell and scream at you, and that's not what I wanted to do. But that's what I feel like I was going to do, because that's how I naturally would react in past relationships that are unhealthy. But I need to separate myself from you so that I don't say something that might hurt you or that might offend you, or whatever the case is. But now that I'm okay and I've regulated my feelings and my emotions, can we talk about what happened? Can we dissect what's going on? Can we work through this? Because I don't want this to happen again. Or if it does happen again, I want to be able to fix it right there in the moment, instead of us both being silent for an hour. It still takes intentional work on both ends. It just doesn't fall. Like, granted, yeah, it's not his responsibility to always, I guess, be the first one to intentionally work on things, but also sometimes it takes that intentional work to be the first one to say, hey, I got to take initiative to figure out what's going on and why it happened the way it did, and work through it. how do I say I need time to regulate myself so I don't say something mean? What if they keep pushing to talk about it? What is that? So I would explain to them what regulating feelings and emotions mean because they might not need that. They might not need the same thing you need. As an anxious person, they might not need the same thing an avoidant person needs. And I think it's more so explaining to them that what regulating your feelings and emotions does for you, and what how much time you might need, and what that feels like, and what that looks like. But also taking you gotta take into consideration their feelings and their emotions. So even though you might be an avoidant person, you might feel like you always need time to regulate your feelings and your emotions. Well, eventually you don't just naturally take time because you need it, but you also want to progressively work at needing less and less time. So maybe you start off, okay, I need an hour to regulate my feelings and my emotions. Okay, maybe I need 40 minutes to regulate my feelings and my emotions. Okay, I need 20 minutes. Okay, I need 10, I need 5. Okay, you know what? I can actually regulate my feelings and my emotions right here in this moment and still have this conversation. But your goal is to progressively get better to the point where you're negating that necessity to need constant space and time. Because what about them? What do they always require to give you space and time just because you need it? But what about when they want to work it out right here, right now, because they're ready to do so? How you got to be considerate of their feelings and their emotions too. It has to be a balance. It's not that your needs and your wants are more important than theirs and theirs are less than. It's both you are equal. Both of your feelings and emotions are equal. So maybe this time you take space, but next time you don't take space, or you might not need as much space, whatever the case is. But your goal is to progressively get better. But also their goal as an anxious person is to progressively get more patient. So I guess more so your goal as an anxious person is to be able to take more initiative, and their goal is, I mean, as a avoidant person, your goal is to be able to take more initiative and be in a moment, and their goal as an anxious person is to learn how to be more patient. But then when you find that balance and they gain more patience and you take more initiative, it's like there's nothing you two can't handle right there in the moment, because now you understand like they're patient and they know it might take you a minute to get what you need out. They know that it might take you a minute to get what you need to say out, but they also understand that you're able to do it right there in the moment. And you're also acknowledging that they're willing to wait on you to a certain extent, but you also acknowledge how imperative it is for you to work on things right then and there for their anxiety. So it has to be a balance eventually. So instead of y'all starting out here, y'all are like closing that gap slowly but surely to where you're able to handle conflict anywhere, anytime. And that's actually the goal, for in my personal opinion, to be able to talk to your partner when y'all are in the car, or y'all are at Target, or y'all are at Walmart, and these big conversations that people tend to have, and they have to schedule a time for it and make it this big event. You can just have it as if it's a regular conversation about what the weather is today, and you don't skip a beat, and you talk about it, you work through it, and it's all good. Love the shirt, Stitch Gang. I appreciate it. My relationship was abusive, so I had no time to regulate, collect myself. I agree. I get that. And I ran into the same issue until I got into a healthy relationship where the person understood I need time. He kept watching spicy videos of his ex. Is it cheating? Everyone has their own definition of cheating, in my personal opinion. Everyone has their own definition of cheating, in my personal opinion. Because of that, I will say if it makes you uncomfortable, because everybody has their own level of comfortability as well. So let me reiterate rather. So you might get into a relationship with somebody who's comfortable with watching X-rated videos to pleasure themselves, but you as an individual aren't comfortable with watching X-rated videos in your relationship to pleasure yourself. So what do you do? Well, you can express to your partner the uncomfortability you have when it comes to watching X-rated videos, and they can express to you the comfortability that they do have for watching X-rated videos. But they can't expect you to change, and you can't expect your partner to change, because you two have a different preference on what's comfortable for you and what's not. But where's the middle ground? Is there a middle ground? Because if this is something that you're uncomfortable with and this is something that they are comfortable with, are they willing to stop, or are they willing to supplement that with maybe pictures and videos of you? Is that something you're comfortable with doing? Or are you willing to indulge in the X-rated videos but supplement that with something else you are comfortable with? Who knows? But if there's no middle ground, then how did the next question begins? How detrimental is this to your relationship, to where is this something that requires you two to break up because they're going to continue to watch X-rated videos that make you uncomfortable, and meanwhile you're going to continue to tell them how uncomfortable you are and make them feel guilty for doing something that does make them uncomfortable, and that turns into an argument within itself, because they're going to say, well, if you don't want me watching it, then you need to supplement that with something else and give me more intimacy, or you need to make pictures and videos for me, and that still might make you uncomfortable. So are you willing to be in a place of complacency just because you want to be with them, but also you're uncomfortable doing so? Or do you two just say, okay, well, because this is such a big deal for me in this relationship that I need to go find somebody else who isn't uncomfortable with this as well, or I need to go find somebody in a relationship who is comfortable with this as well and navigate it that way. It just depends on you and your relationship. So I won't say that it is cheating, and I won't say that it won't is not cheating. But if it makes you uncomfortable, communicate that, talk about it, and then understand or figure out how detrimental that is for your relationship, and figure out if there's a middle ground, and if there's not, then where do you go from there? I feel is the answer for me that I would implement in my relationship if that were to be the case. What's going on, friend? How you doing? How you doing, Sarah? Thank you for sharing the live. I really appreciate you. You're more than welcome. How do you get how to get my DAX to get over the fear of trying again? He think it will end up the same way. Um, I would I would see what his fears are. Because I know you said that it will his that their fear his fear is that he thinks that the relationship, or if you two were to try again, that the relationship would end up with the same conclusion of you two not working out or breaking up, whatever the case is. But if you have that fear, then how do we reassure that that shouldn't be a fear to have, or that you two are actively like, how do you, more so what I'm trying to say is, how do you provide reassurance that things are different? How do you show this person like, okay, this is different, even though we're the same people going into a similar situation? Okay, what were the problems before in our relationship? Well, we couldn't communicate. Okay, why couldn't we communicate? Because every time we went to communicate, we argued. Okay, what's different from now when we communicate to back then when we were communicating? Okay, back then we were arguing, but now we're having discussions and we're talking about things and we're working through them, and we're putting our pride aside and our ego aside and making this relationship work because we wanted to make it work. And that's a form of reassurance to say, hey, here's what it looks like now compared to what it was back then. And that might be like, okay, this getting a little bit better than last time. Okay, last time we didn't spend as much time together, much quality time together, but now we're finding ways to go on more dates and spend more intentional quality time together. Okay, that's progressively getting better from last time to this time. And you change the things that didn't work before to make them better now. And it's not just to change it at the beginning of the relationship to say, hey, things look different, let's get back together. It's like actively, consistently, intentionally working on the things to make it better this time around and to see if the relationship's going to work. But if he's just genuinely in fear that it's going to turn out like last time, you might not be able to work through that fear if he's not willing to put in the work to get over that fear, because it takes two. After date or two, I lose interest. Would that be a valid feeling, or should it be open minded? So why do you lose interest out of curiosity? What makes you, after the second or third date, what makes you go, I'm good. I don't want to interact with this person no more. What makes you feel that way? I love that suggestion. I apologize quickly after he calmed down. We worked through it. Thanks. You're more than welcome. Just FYI for everybody who's in the live, I am also live on YouTube as well. So if you want, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel after I end the live on YouTube and TikTok. The live will be uploaded and recorded. It will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so that way you all can watch it back and play it back. Unfortunately, all the questions and everything are on TikTok, and because of that, they don't save. But if everybody were on YouTube and asking the same questions, then you can re-watch the live as the questions pop up and stuff in real time, because YouTube actually does save the comments and save the questions. Just FYI, but I do try my best to like repeat the questions and then answer the questions, so that way even if you go over to YouTube and re-watch the broadcast, you at least kind of I got an idea of what's going on, and hopefully like you understand like what the conversations were about and what questions were asked and how they were answered and stuff like that. So just FYI for anybody who wants to rewatch it, or whatever the case is, please feel free. After we get off live, it'll be on YouTube for, I'll keep it on YouTube for as long as YouTube will allow me to. I don't know if there's a time limit that it stays archived, or if I have to do any extra steps to make it an actual video, but hopefully it'll be on YouTube as long as it can stay on there. Also, YouTube has this weird thing to where if you have under 1,000 subscribers, that there's only a certain limit of people who can be in the YouTube live at once, which is weird in my personal opinion. So just FYI, if anybody ever comes over to YouTube instead of TikTok, and you wonder why you can't get into the YouTube room, it's not that I'm not letting you in. It's just that YouTube has its own stipulations, unfortunately, not like TikTok. So just putting that out there to the world. Um, Thank you all for the likes. I appreciate it. I never realized the type of attachment me and my boyfriend had, and I'm gonna avoid he's anxious. Thank you so much for the advice. You're more than welcome. Mm-mm-mm. Those oranges are so good. Been talking to someone for a month and a half. They went on a business trip over the weekend. Told me they will let me know when they back hasn't received anything. Have you reached back out to them out of curiosity? Um, I know they said they'll reach back out to you. Are you waiting for them to reach out, or have you by chance reached out to them? Thank you all for the likes. Anybody on Eastern time? Can you let me know what time it is, please, if you don't mind? Waiting for them to reach out. How long you said this? It says 1:57 p.m. I appreciate that because I'm probably gonna get off here in about 30 minutes or so. That way I can get the rest of my day going because I have not been to the gym. I gotta finish up laundry. I got responsibilities. Being an adult is so ghetto. The ghettoest experience of the ghettoest experiences. You waiting for them to reach out. You said that was last weekend. They went on the business trip, and he haven't reached out since. Why, out of curiosity, why couldn't they reach out while they were on the business trip? Did their phone stop working? Could they not have taken their phone? Can they not have sent text and called to FaceTime and stuff? Excuse me, I'm not saying like during the day, like they might be working, of course, but like at night when they're in the hotel room or before they go to bed, like could that not have been a thing out of curiosity? What other advice do you have for an avoidant and anxious couple? Um, it's not so much for an anxious and avoiding couple. It's just more so for an individual who is not comfortable with who they are as a person. I know for me personally, I had to understand that I am enough. I'm a beautiful person. I'm extraordinary. I love me. I care for me. I adore me. I appreciate me. Despite everything that I've been through, despite everything that happened to me, despite all my experiences, despite all the things that I might not be too proud of, despite all the things that I look back on and say, damn, I could have probably did that differently. I was learning. I was growing, I was experiencing. I didn't know. And realistically speaking, if I did know, I would have done better. But I didn't know. And because of that, I made a decision that I thought was best in those moments. And I did the best that I could. And that's all I could do because that's all I knew how to do. But now that I know better because of those experiences, I've grown and now I know how to do things differently to the point where they might benefit me a little bit better than they did in the past. And I say all that because at first I was ashamed of the way that I would react to conflict because I feel like my internals were screaming to say, hey, I know we need to deal with this. We need to work this out. We need to handle this. We need to talk about it. We need to work through it. But the outside of me was like, we need to go. We need to walk away. We need space. We need to get away from this conflict. This is about to be an argument. This is about to be a fight. This is about to be bad. We need to leave. We need to avoid this. We need to avoid this. And my avoidant used to be so bad. My avoidant side of me used to be so bad that I craved relationships. I craved intimacy. I craved love. I craved friendships. But at the same time, I felt like I was so undeserving of these things because I wasn't worthy, or there was somebody else better, or there was somebody else who could do better, or who had more money, or who looked better, or who was this and who was that. Because I wasn't confident in myself. I didn't love myself. So I felt like there was somebody else out there in the world who could provide something better that I couldn't provide. So therefore, why is this person choosing me? Why is this person with me? Why is this person want to pursue me? Why does this person want to be my friend? Why does this person want to be my girlfriend? Why does this person want to be in my life? Why me? Why me? Why me? Because I didn't love myself. And it wasn't until I started loving myself till I realized like people want to be in my life because I'm fucking amazing. I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm fabulous. Like it's no one. A lot of people might not feel that way about me, and that's cool because those are the people who don't want to be in my life one way or another. Rather, if they're making a choice not to because they hate me for some reason, or because they are projecting their insecurities upon me, or just because I'm not for them, that's fine. But for the people I am for the people who do want to be in my life, for the people who do love me, for the people who see me the way I see me, they want to be a part of my life. They want to love me. They want to care for me. They want to be a part of what I'm capable of giving. And it wasn't until I gained that confidence within myself to say, I deserve happiness. I deserve love. I deserve care. I deserve all the things that I'm capable of giving. And it's not fair for me to give it and not receive it in return. I don't deserve to be anybody's emotional puncher bag. I don't deserve to be treated less than. I don't deserve to get the bare minimum. I don't deserve the bottom of the barrel. I deserve the fucking best because I am the best for myself. And if nobody else is willing to give it to me, I'm willing to give it to me. I'm willing to love me. I'm willing to care for me. And I don't need people. I want people. And that's a beautiful feeling because when people start disturbing my peace and my happiness, guess what? I don't need people. I want people. And I don't need people in the sense of, oh, let me push you away because I'm undeserving. I was like, I don't need people because I am deserving and you're not providing that for me. So see ya. And it wasn't a sense of me using people up, but it's just when people start disrupting peace and happiness is something that can't be bought. It can't be faked. It can't be like it can only be fake for so long until it's time to be vulnerable, until it's time to be real. And I am always going to be the realest, most vulnerable person because I am not responsible for the way other people react. I'm only responsible for me. So if I express my feelings and my emotions in the most kind, respectful way possible, and you still react out of anger, or you still react out of spite, or you still react in a way where you feel like I'm attacking you, and you're not willing to discuss it, you're not willing to talk about it, but yet you decide to react because you feel like that's the best thing for you to do, that's fine. I'm not gonna knock you for it because you feel like that's the best decision for you, but just know that I don't want to be a part of that because I'm protecting my peace and I'm protecting my happiness. You had an avoidant attachment? Yes. I grew up early in life. As a kid, I had adult responsibilities. So therefore, I was used to sacrificing my own happiness. I was used to sacrificing my own peace. I was used to putting what I wanted and needed aside in order to provide for other people because I had to be that for other people because of the role that I had to play in my childhood and growing up. Because my parents weren't healthy, the people around me weren't healthy, and in order for me to survive in certain spaces, I had to grow up. And I had to understand that these things that I wanted in life, like I just had to be able to do without. And then I moved a lot in my life as well. So like to build friendships and bonds and then to have to leave those behind or to get attached to materialistic things and to have to leave those behind or to call a place a home and then to have to leave that home behind because I had to constantly move. I got used to just going without. I got used to just not caring about it. I got used to not building attachments. I got used to being okay with the bare minimum. I got used to not having 101 outfits. I used to see other people go to school, have brand new Jordans, brand new outfit, brand new everything else. Me, I had at that time we were shopping at Kmart, so I had Kmart clothes. I had Shaq shoes. I don't know if y'all remember the Shaqs or the Starberries. I had Starberry shoes. Like I was used to just the bare minimum because I mean, it served its purpose. Like it's not the fanciest clothes, or it's not Echo or Reebok or South Pole at the time, but it's clothes. It's clothes on my back is gonna keep me warm. It's fine. I couldn't call a place a home because we're constantly moving, but this place provided shelter, so I was okay with the bare minimum. Um, the people who I called my friends at that time, like I would hang out with them and I'll spend time with them because it was something to do. But I also understand that it wasn't a point of me building an attachment to where I was gonna stay consistent with these people because eventually I was gonna up and leave because that's just what my life was. It was just constant movement. So to build an attachment, and of course that played a part in my adulthood to where now I have to find stability. I have to find a home. I have to care about the way I look. I have to care about my relationships and how do I get out of that mindset when that mindset has been my mindset for survival for so long. And now I have somebody who's looking at me in my face and say, I want to hear what you got to say. Your feelings or emotions are important. I do care about the way you look. I do want this to be your home. And it's like, how do I change that brain chemistry to say, okay, this is safe, this is comfortable, this is forever, this is okay, this is, I do deserve these things, I do deserve love, I do deserve care, I do deserve whatever I didn't have before in my life. I do deserve these things now as an adult. But how do I change that mindset and know that it's safe to do so, and that I'm not gonna have to leave again, or I'm not gonna have to move away, or I'm not gonna have to just say, you know what, I'm okay without doing it, or I'm okay without it. Is this similar as people pleasing? Um, yeah, in a sense, because growing up, I had to be something for somebody else, but I had to also understand that the person that I was being that for so I had to be something for somebody else, but also understand that that person that I was being there for couldn't be that person for me, and I had to be okay with not receiving that in return. Does that make sense? Like, I had to be okay pleasing people, but understand that the people I was pleasing could never please me that way because they didn't have the capability to, which is why I had to fulfill that role and be that person for them. I love your shirt. I appreciate this. Walmart, $5. I am very much a minimalist. You said, "Wow, yes, yeah, yeah." So I tried therapy because I was trying to figure out. Your shirt is my mood. It's between this one and I have another one that says, "Please don't make me do things today," and I have another one that says, "I show up late and I leave early." I got a bunch of shirts with funny sayings that at a certain point look like dad jokes. But I tried therapy. Therapy didn't work for me because I knew what the problem was. I just had to do the work. And I think that sometimes people don't necessarily know what the problem is, and therefore they don't know what kind of work to do. And I think that therapy kind of helps bridge that gap once you discover what it is that's causing you to feel the way you feel. But I already knew why I felt the way I felt. I just had to change my brain chemistry to understand that it's okay to start doing the work now. It's okay to get comfortable. It's okay to know that this is stable. It's okay to know that nothing's gonna change. It's okay to know, like, it's okay. It's good. It's okay. Man, that was a good orange too. I can't even eat that no more. Um, Despite all you said on live, you have the brightest smile. Is it okay to not be okay? I appreciate that. Is it okay not to be okay? Yeah, you're human. Yeah, you are human. Yeah, the world is shit right now. The life is crazy. Money is crazy. Food's crazy. Living is crazy. Trying to figure out what to eat. Trying to figure out when you can sleep. Trying to figure out when you can get comfortable. When you can enjoy your me time. Trying to figure out kids and school and life and work and relationships with yourself and your own mental health and your own physical health. Yes, life is hectic, and it's okay to not be okay. 100%. It's okay to cry. I cry. There's times where I could be 100% happy, life is going great, and I look at my wife and I say, "Hey, can I cry?" And she'd be like, "Yeah." And not that I need permission to cry, but like when I say, "Can I cry?" that means like she'll sit there with me and she'll hold me and I'll cry right there in her arms, just because I need a release. Because I'm so like not overwhelmed, but like life is just sometimes heavy, and like my life is beautiful. Like despite like all the crazy madness things that's going on in the world, sometimes life is just like a lot, and I'm human, and I need a release, and I cry, and it's okay to not be okay. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, he, she, them, they. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not have the answers. It's okay to not know what to do. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel like things are caving in. It's okay. What is not okay to do is feel like you have to take all that on by yourself because you always have help. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, hey, I don't have the answer. Can you help me? Hey, I don't know what to do with these emotions. Can you talk to me about them? I don't know how to feel. Can you dissect this with me? It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to take all that on by yourself. And this comes from somebody who tried to unalive multiple times because I felt like I should be okay. I should be tough. I should be strong. I should be trying to figure this out. I should have the answer. I shouldn't feel this way. I should know how to navigate this. I should absolutely. But if everybody knew how to do that, what do you think the world would look like? Nobody really got the answer, which is why we're all having a human experience. We're all just experiencing this the best way we can. And we're doing the best we can. And some people have experienced similar situations prior to us, and maybe they have an answer that might be helpful, but it might not work for us necessarily completely because we're two different people having different experiences in life. There's different variables that I have in my life compared to yours. So what might work for me might kind of get you started on what might work for you, but you also have to discover what completely worked for you in a comfortable way. I thought I had to have all the answers, and feeling like you had to always carry the weight on the world by yourself. Eventually, you're gonna crumble under that weight, and it's gonna cause you to get to a point where when you fail, you're gonna feel like you're not good enough. You're gonna feel like you're stupid. You're gonna feel like you're dumb. You're gonna feel like you should have known the answer, and because you don't, you're less than, and you're not gonna be successful. You're not all the things, and that's not true. You're just experiencing life like everybody else, and you're learning, and it's okay. I think you have one of the brightest smiles I've ever seen. See, my teeth is kind of white. I just brush. I brush 2 times a day. I don't do nothing spectacular. 2 times a day, just brush. I floss every other day. Try to take care of my teeth. I try to make it to where I don't have to see a dentist often. I hate going to the dentist. It's my lead a dentist, my whole mouth hurt. They be trying to clean my teeth. They be in there. No, thank you. I do it myself. No, thank you. No, thank you. My life is so similar, and I feel so same. 9-year fiance, 2 kids. I am. My wife and I have been together for 4 years. I have 2 children from previous relationships. She has 1 child from previous relationships, so we both co-parent. It's hard. Life is hard. Trying to navigate co-parents, trying to navigate step-parent life, trying to navigate marriage, trying to navigate blended families. I have my mom and my stepdad, and I have my dad and my stepmom. So like I have 4 different families ultimately that I have to navigate, including my wife's family. That's included in that mix. So 5 different families that I have to navigate with all these siblings and all these cousins and all these family members, and then my kids and how to navigate step parents and then their families. And it's all I get it. I get it. I understand. It's stressful. It's frustrating. It's irritating. All the things. I get it. I hear you. I understand. I get it. All you can do is literally all you can do. You can't do things that are outside of your capability. You can't figure out things that are outside of your knowledge. It's okay that you don't know. It's okay you don't have the answer. It's okay that it's stressful. It's life. I'm not to say that to put a band-aid answer on it, but I'm saying that as more of a reason to say life is fucking hard right now. Because the way you and I are stressing out right now, what's crazy is you and I are stressing out right now about our life. Not stressing in the sense of like this is currently a stressor, but it's one of those things that we have to be concerned about because it's important in our life. But meanwhile, on the other side of the world, people are literally fighting for their life. They're fighting for life. They're fighting to live. And that's stressful for them too. Is it okay not to be okay? Absolutely. Because there's so many layers to life. There's you as an individual. Just by yourself, there's you. Whether if you're a mom, a dad, a grandma, auntie, uncle, cousin, brother, just you. You gotta make sure your mental health is good, your physical health is good, financial health is good, your spiritual health is good, all the things, right? Just you. And then you have a partner who also has to worry about themselves, but you also have to be concerned about too. And then you have children who you also have to be concerned about yourself, your partner, but also your children. And you got work. So now you gotta be concerned about yourself, your partner, your children, and work, and then school, and then family members, and then friendships, and then after all that, so it's just your immediate circle, right? You gotta be concerned about the world. The world. The world. the government, aliens, yeah, climate change, toxic food, taxes. It's stressful. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay. I think you deserve a break. It's okay. It's okay. um, it's hard to let myself be sad when I know there are people who are doing worse than I am. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, they are important. They are important. I'm not saying they're not important. They are the people outside of you absolutely important. But you can't be concerned or you can't pour into those people if you're yourself aren't okay. You got to make sure you're good. I'm not saying ignore your problems to put your problems aside to be there for everybody else, but genuinely you have to make sure you're good because you can't provide for nobody else, you can't pour into nobody else, you can't give to nobody else if you got nothing to give. So you got to make sure you're good. I'm not saying all these other things aren't important, but what I'm saying is all you can do is literally all you can do. So if there's nothing you can't do about it or nothing you can do about it right now immediately, I'm not saying that it's not important. I'm not saying fuck it, but I'm saying as of right now, you have to take care of your priorities until you get to a place of being able to pour into more aspects of the life of life that are important. And some things right now are an immediate priority, and other things are still a priority, but they're kind of further down on a priority list. So they still need to be taken care of. They still need to worry about it. They still need to be concerned about it. But as of right now, there are other things that are more pertinent. I think that's the word I'm looking for. That need to be taken care of. It's not just that you seem genuinely happy. That's what I mean. I am happy because life is beautiful. And all that I am is a human. I'm just a human. I'm just a human having an experience that we call life. Life has a starting line, which is you're born, and life has a finish line, which is when you die. What you do in between time and how much time you have in between time, it's up in the air. You don't know how much time you have on this earth. You don't know what you're gonna do on this earth because tomorrow's not promised and you can't see the future, so you don't know what you're gonna do tomorrow. You might have an idea what you want to do, but you're not considering all the variables that kind of sway you into doing something different because you don't know. All I can control is me. I can't control anything external to me. And I can sit here and be stressed out. I can worry. I can cry. I could be upset. I could be angry. I could be mad. Or I can just experience life as a human. Now, I have plenty of hats that I put on, not just talking about the physical ones, but I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I'm a brother, I'm a nephew, I'm an uncle, I'm all the things, right? I have all these titles. And all these titles are important in the society that we live in. But at the end of the day, I'm just a human. And when I die, maybe one or two generations from now, nobody's gonna remember me. Nobody's gonna remember who I was, what I did, the influence I had. Nobody's gonna remember. Because I'm just a human having an experience. And as far as I know as of right now, because I don't have any religious association with any group, so I'm not a Catholic, I'm not a Baptist, I'm not a Muslim, I'm not anything when it comes to religion. For all I know is that we only got one shot at this life experience. And I know some people believe in reincarnation, some people believe in heaven and hell. I don't necessarily believe that is true. I don't believe that is not true. I'm just saying that as of right now, I don't have any belief in anything beyond just we got one shot at this. So I could spend this life that I don't know how long we have here. I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow. I could spend this whole time stressing, worried. I'm sorry, I got a phone call. I could spend this whole life stressed out, upset, worried, or I could just enjoy the experience. I can enjoy the ride. I can enjoy the time I do have here on earth. I could just be. And I choose to make the best out of every decision. I choose to make the best out of every situation. And it's as simple as, like, for example, if I got a flat tire, I could be upset at the fact that I got a flat tire, or I could say, you know what? Just let me change the flat tire and keep on going home. If it's a rainy day, I could choose to play in the rain or I could choose to stay inside. But I try my best to look at every situation in a positive light to say life is beautiful regardless because I was born and I'm experiencing it and I'm making the best out of it. And I don't operate from a place of ego because ego doesn't really exist. Ego is something that is made up or something that people hold on to and it's not real. You're just a human having a human experience. Yeah, you could be worried what people are going to think about you, what people are going to feel about you, or how people are going to feel about you, how people perceive you, how people see you. Everybody to a certain extent might be concerned about that. And it's just know the stressor. I'm not responsible for other people. I'm only responsible for me. If I love the way I feel, if I love the way I look, if I love who I am, if I love what I do, if I love all the things about me, who gives a damn? Who cares about what other people think, how other people feel, how other people perceive me? That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is me, and all I can do is all I can do. That's it. And in my personal opinion, as crazy, as stressful, as wild as life is, just make the best of it. Best out of it. And yeah, there are people in the world who might be in a worse position than I am, and I wish that I could do more. And I wish I could say more. I wish I can be more. I wish I can give more. But one person trying to save the world is impossible. It's going to take for everybody as a combined effort. It's going to take an organization. It's almost like the concept of an ant, right? One ant, it's just one ant, but we have a whole colony of ants. We have everybody who's organized and coming together to make a change. That's when change happens. And as of right now, I'm just becoming the change in the world that I want to see, which is having a positive mindset. Let's start there. Let's start with healthy people, not in a sense of in a physical way of going to the gym and eating better, but genuinely healthy people mentally who change their perspective and look at life as something that's beautiful, something that can be extraordinary if we all came together to make it that way. But all I can do is control me. And life is so beautiful. Life is as beautiful as you make it and as you want it to be. And you can look at it as, oh, I'm in a stupid apartment and I wish I was in a house and I'm so far behind on where I should be in life. Or you can look at it as, I have a roof over my head and I have food in my mouth and I have clothes on my back. And yeah, I might not be, or I might not have obtained the materialistic things that I want to obtain just yet, but I'll get there eventually. And maybe it's just not my time just yet. Maybe there's other things that take priority that I'm not acknowledging or seeing in this moment that need to be done prior to me obtaining these other materialistic things. Or maybe this materialistic thing isn't for me. Maybe I need something else or I want something else in life. I truly believe that you manifest the life that you want. And sometimes the life that you think you want might not be exactly what you need. And it takes a perspective shift to acknowledge what genuinely makes you happy in life. Is it the materialistic things or is it the experience that the materialistic things give you? You can still obtain the experience that the materialistic things give you without the actual materialistic things. And that's something that I had to learn. And it's something I did learn, which is why I am so blessed and so happy. Because my happiness, the way obtain my happiness just looked different, not the way that I thought I would obtain it, but I obtained it and it's happy, it's loving, it's caring, it's safe. Um, my father-in-law just called me. Sounds like my wife's on the phone dealing with work right now, so I listen one day you say I had a life and should have lived. Don't let that happen. Go out, talk to the screen. Let me see. I'm waiting for my wife to get off the phone. I gotta tell her to call my father-in-law back. Um, avoiding and dealing with guilt of ending a relationship with the ex who blames you for not loving him enough. So instead of blaming you for not loving him enough, have you two had discussions on what love looks like and how you two can love each other better out of curiosity? Excuse me, I can use relationship advice. Ask away. All you can do is all you can do. I appreciate you saying that. I'm just human. Yeah. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. He, she, them, they. Give me 1 second. Let me go talk to my wife real quick. Hold on. Hey, honey. Sorry, give me one moment.
Okay, I will shoot him a message. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Yes, babe.
Your dad called me back from Ryanstruth.
He wants to know if we want to come over tonight and grill.
What are you trying to grill?
I don't know. He called me. He wants to see all he wants to see us. So I was talking to him and my mom a couple minutes ago, and he was like, "What are you guys doing tonight? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" I was like, "Well, I think Ryan's making spaghetti." He's like, "Well, I was gonna make something on the grill." And I was like, "Okay." He got and said, "Hey, 2 seconds while I've got you. If we're thinking about going to my dad's for dinner, I also need to go down to the shop to our office, get a check, and then take it to Big Mike's for that like field day thing. If we're gonna do all of that, we might as well just stay down there and go to my parents after. But I was hoping to go almost immediately after I get Oliver from school."
So what time do I need to get off?
Well, do you want to come with me to get Oliver from school?
That's up to you, honey. You got time to come back here and then
I can
go?
come back here and get you after I get Ollie.
Okay, that's fine, honey.
We just need to leave as soon as I get back. So probably
That's
3:30.
fine, baby.
Okay.
Are you good with that? All right, thank you. I love you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Sorry about that. My father-in-law had called and was like, "I'm trying to throw something on the grill. Y'all trying to come through?" That man always trying to throw something on the grill, but it's all right. I'm gonna go to Aldi and then I'm gonna get some hamburgers and hot dogs. He throw something on the grill. He just wanted an excuse to see us, and I'm cool with it. I love that man. I am so lucky that I have a healthy relationship with my in-laws. My in-laws are such beautiful people, and it's no surprise my wife is phenomenal, and I understand why. Um, you said I appreciate you saying that. I'm just human. Um, Hi, ex dumped me but wants to be friends. He still texts. What do you think he wants? So for 1 minute, let me ask you a question. Let's turn that question back around on you. What do you think you want? So this is what your ex did, right? So your ex dumped you, and he turned around and said, "Hey, I want to be just friends with you." So let's identify what a friend is, right? A friend is somebody who's going to be there for you, who you can talk to, who you can hang out with, who you can spend time with, who you can open up to, who you can be vulnerable with, who you can spend time with, all the things, right? A friend sounds like a great person to have. But when you're in a relationship with this person who's supposed to be just your friend, not only should they be your friend, but it should take it to the next level because now they're an intimate friend. So not only should you just have the basic level of what a friend is, but it should be above and beyond that because this is your intimate partner who you're going to potentially spend the rest of your life with. And then when life doesn't work out that way with this person, they go back to being, hey, I just want to be this person you can talk to, you can confide in, you can be vulnerable with, you can hang out with, all the things because this is what a friend is, right? This is what a friend does. Then it begs the question, were they a friend when y'all were together? Were you able to talk to them? Were you able to open up to them? Were you able to come to them to tell them how you felt? Were you able to spend time with them, intentional quality time? Were you able to be a friend with them on top of the intimate aspect of being in a relationship with them? And then if the answer to that is no, then how can they possibly be a friend after everything's said and done, after you two have already had all these experiences of being together and being intimate and being vulnerable together, and now just look at this person as just a friend? Then you have to question if this friend who is your ex decides to get into another relationship with another woman, are you going to be comfortable seeing them with another woman? Well, is their new girlfriend going to be okay with them being friends with you, who's their ex? Or if you decide to move on with another man, is your ex going to be okay with you being in a relationship with another man? Is this new man going to be okay with you being friends with your ex? And there's so many aspects and variables to that. But first and foremost, what do you want? Because you're asking, what does he want? What does that mean? What's his intentions upon doing that? First and foremost, what do you want? Do you want a friendship? Because if you don't, then there's no point in even trying to figure out what it is his intentions are, because you realize if we can't be in a relationship, then I don't want nothing with you at all. But if you want to entertain a thought of a friendship, then you can do that. But what does a friendship genuinely look like between this person? What are your expectations? Where do you draw the line as far as boundaries if you two are already intimate before How do you not cross that line of intimacy? How do you not be intimate anymore? How do you not kiss, hug, touch, or whatever else you two did while in a relationship? There's a lot of aspects that you should probably consider prior to identifying if you want to be a friend with this person or not. So, what do you want? I'm a mom struggling really bad right now. See, it'd be like that. You're not struggling. You're making it. You're doing it. You're doing it. I know you might not necessarily be where you want to be, which is why you see that you feel like you're struggling, but you're making it happen. You seem bummed out. You okay? I'm good. Listen, one day you will say, I had a life, loved it, don't let it happen, go out. I suggest you go out and enjoy instead of staying and talking to a screen. Okay, okay. How do you deal with watching a friend in a bad, toxic relationship? You just watch. You watch and support, in my personal opinion. So if you're asking my personal opinion, and I'll use myself and my friend, right? One of my friends. If I see my friend in a bad, toxic relationship, it is not my responsibility to tell them to leave. It is not my responsibility to tell them they can do better. They need to do better. They need to change the person that they're with. It's not my responsibility to do so. It is their responsibility to identify when enough is enough. Unless the relationship is physical and is like, when I say physical, like they're punching each other, hitting each other, then at that point I might need to intervene and say, hey, this probably isn't a healthy situation, even though they know it's not healthy, because I'm telling them something they already know, which is why, like, anybody with common sense knows, like, if you ever get to the point where you have to physically hit somebody in a relationship, the relationship is not healthy unless they're used to that dynamic, and even though they know it's not healthy, they're just used to surviving in that environment. But I feel like as a friend, all you can do is provide support. All you can do is be a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, a voice of reason if they ask for it, give your opinion if at all necessary. But I feel like they have to get to the point where they say enough is enough. And you don't hit them with the "I told you so" or "I told you you could do better." It's more so like, "Hey, are you okay? I is there anything you want to talk about? What do you need right now in this moment? Are you looking for another relationship? Do you feel like you just want to give relationships a break? Let's go out and let's go for coffee. Let's go out for a drink. Let's go do something together. Let's go talk about it if you want to talk about it. If not, let's just go enjoy each other's company. Let's just go have an experience together." I feel like as a friend, all you can do is literally provide support, because you can tell people time and time again, you should leave that relationship. You should find better. That person's not good for you. But I feel like sometimes that gets misconstrued as in like, why are you hating on my relationship, or why do you want me to leave this person so bad, or why you can't be supportive of me as a friend and just appreciate the decisions that I make for myself? Why can't you? Because they know their situation, but to hear it from somebody else, it kind of like validates what they already know. But instead of them understanding that and listening to that and making that decision to leave to go find better, it might actually push them into that relationship even further, because they feel like, well, out of spite, if you don't want me to be with them, I'm going to be with them anyway to prove to you that this will work, this will be okay, and it's none of your business about what I do. And you might end up being a bad person in the situation, even though you're just trying to provide support and a healthy way to tell them they deserve better and they need to do better and they should do better. I feel like personally, all I would do is just provide support. Hey, you want to talk? Hey, are you okay? Hey, is everything good? Hey, you want to go out and do something together? Hey, you want to go hang out? And then if or when they need advice, I give advice and say, hey, so if you're asking my personal opinion, I feel like the way you two might handle conflict might be a little bit unhealthy, because it leads to you two arguing and fighting, and I don't feel like that deserves an argument or a fight. Um, But like, if this is something that you want to continue to be a part of, then I understand and I get it. I feel like this might help the relationship, and you could try that. But if it doesn't, then maybe we could talk about it a different time to see what else might work. But I feel like all you can do is provide support to a certain extent. Excuse me. Why would men rather break up than fix the relationship they broke? I.e., cheating, lie. He blocked me and everything. Said we were toxic when he didn't want to acknowledge he hurt me. Um, because taking accountability means that you have to be real and authentic about the part that you play in the relationship. And in order to be real and authentic about the part that you played, that means that you have to acknowledge the decisions that you made in that relationship. So if you made the decision to purposely lie, if you made the decision to purposely cheat, you have to acknowledge how bad lying and cheating actually is. And then once you acknowledge that that's a bad thing to do and that you still made that decision, that means that you have to reassess who you are as a person and the decisions that you decide to make, which means that you have to change in order to be a healthier version of yourself to have a healthy relationship with another individual. But if you don't want to change and you don't want to acknowledge the part that you played, then it's easier to blame somebody else about the part that they played and act like you walked away with your hands clean rather than changing because it's necessary to do so in order to have a healthy relationship. So you're asking somebody to take accountability for the actions that they knew that they made the decision to do, but yet like you're asking them to take accountability, you're asking them to change, but they don't want to. So because they don't want to, it's easier to just walk away because they never have to do anything different. They never have to change or become somebody different. They just continue to stay themselves and blame you. And if you're the problem, that means that they don't have to change anything. They did nothing wrong, because blaming other people and making them take accountability is easier than you yourself taking accountability and recognizing that there's a necessity for a change. So instead of getting caught up about a person who's not willing to take accountability, who's not willing to talk about things, who's not willing to change, it's more so identifying that this person is not willing to participate in a relationship and they're not even willing to talk about it and work through it. And therefore, why continue to give them time, effort, and energy if they're not willing to continue to be present in a relationship in a healthy way by taking accountability in the part that they play in a relationship which hurts you and which caused you to get to the point where you two are right now. Uh, where am I? Where am I? We did discuss it, but I feel like I'm not showing him I care and respect him, but I do. It's over now. I feel guilty and I need advice to move on while still in love. So why can't you move on out of curiosity? Why are you still holding on? Why him? That makes sense. He's told you will never change when he betrayed me first. You're right though. It's almost it's weird because it's like I'm not saying you're innocent. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Chris. I'm not saying you're innocent. What I am saying is that you might have affected him in a way where it hurt him and made him upset, and made him uncomfortable, wherever the case is, and required him in that moment to be vulnerable to say, "Hey, this is how you hurt me. This is how you affected me. This is what you did, and I don't like it. Can we change it? Can we work on it? Can we work through it?" And obviously, situations like that build a stronger bond and connection where you're able to speak up and have conversations about the things and talk about things that work and don't work and get feedback. Like these are all things that help excel and move the relationship forward and help it progress. But instead of doing that, this man said, "You piss me off, you upset me, you're never gonna change, so I'm about to go lie and cheat because this is a better response than to work on the relationship." It's a little extreme, man. So because you hurt me in the sense of I didn't like what you said, I'm about to block you. I'm about to go lie and I'm about to go cheat on you because that's my first instinct. Now you sit there for a moment and you analyze that. You say, how hard is it to cheat and lie compared to just being vulnerable and expressing the way you feel and why you feel the way you feel? Because I would assume that it's easier to say, hey, that hurt me. And if we want to break it down to caveman terms, hey, that hurt me. You hurt me when you said mean thing. When you said mean thing, that hurt and made me uncomfortable. It's caveman terms. Very easy to do, very easy to say. Because then we can dissect that, we can work through that, right? Compared to saying, you know what? You hurt me, so let me go hit up another girl, hide everything that I'm doing, and then go sleep with another girl, because I'm going to show you how bad you hurt me. So because you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. I just feel like one solution was a little bit easier to do than the other, but I could be wrong. He left me for another woman the first time he left, and I found out months later I felt so betrayed. You are a good one. Because the first time he left would have told me and showed me that he didn't want me the way I thought he wanted me. because there's always an alternative to people leaving. I understand you might not know how to handle conflict. I understand it might be hard for you. I understand it might be hard for you to take accountability. I understand that not everyone is perfect and not everyone's in the same place that I am when it comes to talk about feelings and emotions and thoughts and all the things. I get it. I understand. But if your first instinct is to leave the relationship to go be with somebody else instantly, your first thought process was, fuck this relationship, I'm gonna go be with somebody else. Instead of being with, because it's easy to stay in a relationship when everything's good. It's easy to stay in a relationship when nothing's wrong. It's easy to stay in a relationship when there's no arguing, there's no fussing, there's no fighting. Anybody can do that. Two people who are total opposites can do that. They can be in a relationship when everything's good and everything's great. Y'all are having experiences, ha ha, laughing, ha ha, kikiing together. That's great. But in the moment, when that moment comes, because it happens in every relationship, that's when people say it's the end of the honeymoon phase. Because now you're realizing that there are things that your partner might do or say that makes you uncomfortable, and now y'all gotta have this talk about it. Y'all gotta work through it. Y'all gotta go through this conflict. That's when people say the honeymoon phase is over because they fail to navigate conflict, and therefore, because they're not navigating conflict, they sweep it under the rug, and they sweep it under the rug, and they sweep it under the rug, and it continues to pile up and pile up and pile up until it becomes this huge argument because now you got to address all these things at once instead of when you have the moment to address this and work through it, and you don't have to sweep it under the rug. You throw shit in the trash because it's already done and over with. And then the next thing, instead of sweeping under the rug, you work it out and throw shit in the trash because it's already done and over with. You no longer hold animosity against your partner. You no longer want to fuss. You no longer want to fight because you two have worked through it. Not in the sense of just saying, okay, it is what it is, but more so saying, hey, here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's how I feel. How do you feel about it? Okay, I didn't understand. I didn't realize you felt that way. Okay, can we talk about that? Can we work through it? And you get to a place where you both say, you know what? I'm okay with this. I feel better. Do you feel better? I love you and I care for you. That's working through it. Not fuck it. Let's just break up. Well, let's take space away and then act like this doesn't exist and then come back a month later and then let's get past this problem and just sweep it under the rug and sweep it under the rug and sweep it under the rug. And that's what people fail at relationships because they don't work through conflict. And not only did he not work through conflict, but he decided to leave the relationship because he thought another situation was going to be better. Guess what? If you can't handle conflict in this relationship, and you don't handle conflict in this relationship, you don't handle conflict in this relationship, at a certain point, you got to realize that it's not the other person, it's you. You are failing to handle conflict in a healthy way, no matter who you get with, no matter how great this person is, when it's time to handle conflict, because it will happen no matter what relationship you get in. If you don't know how to handle conflict, guess what? You're going to run into the same problems and same issue with another person. And that honeymoon phase is going to end because guess what? You don't talk about shit. You don't want somebody who could be there when things are good. You want somebody who could be there no matter how bad things get and they're willing to navigate it with you. And things are only bad because not because they're intentionally bad on purpose because you two are causing it, but because things came up and you two are willing to work through it together as a team to get to a place where you two are happy and you love each other and you care for each other and you genuinely want to be together and you can't see yourself with nobody else and you don't want to see yourself with nobody else. But when you're too busy running away from your problems and issues and you go get into another relationship or go cheat and go lie, you're just adding fuel to the fire that's already there. And now you can't sweep nothing under the rug. Now it's become the elephant in the room because it's so damn big. It's taking up all the space in the room. And what do you do with that? I wasn't innocent, but I never would have done that to any man. And when you say that, you might not have been innocent. Sorry, it's an orange peel. I'm trying to peel my orange. When you said that, I wasn't innocent, but I would never have done that to any man. I always ask myself, because I know everybody's definition of love looks different. Everybody's definition of love looks completely different. But I always ask myself, I know I love them, and I know I care for them. Could I ever see myself doing what they did to me back to them? The answer to that could be yes or no. It could be, for me, it could be, yeah, I guess I could. If I was in a healthy space and I wanted them to hurt as much as I hurt, I could see myself doing that to them. But realistically speaking, they didn't give a fuck about me because they were willing to hurt me. They knew. And even if you don't have, let's say, I know common sense isn't common. But even if I am unsure, I can assume. If I go lie to somebody, a random stranger, could that be hurtful? Well, would that be hurtful to me? Probably. If I go cheat on a person who claims that they love me and they care for me, would that be hurtful? Well, shit, if I care to love somebody and they cheated on me, I'd be hurt. I'd be in shambles. So why would you make that decision? So right then and there, I would assume that that person didn't care about me because if they're willing to lie and cheat to me, they don't give a fuck about me. So if I were hypothetically trying to hurt them the way they hurt me, I couldn't even do that because they don't care enough to be hurt by what I decide to do. Because they should be hurt by seeing me cry. They should be hurt by seeing me upset. They should be hurt by seeing me not be okay. Because as a partner, for you to look at somebody you love, whether if it's your mom, uncle, brother, sister, child, to look at somebody you care about and just watch them cry, and there's not a bone in your body that wants to say, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? What's going on? Why are you hurt? Why are you crying? Can we work through this? And your partner, the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, you look at this person in their eyes and say, fuck you. I'm going to go cheat. I'm going to be the reason why you're crying. They don't care. So I go back to that definition of love and I ask myself, could I see myself treating them the same way they treat me? Yeah, if I hated them and I wanted them to hurt, but realistically, even if I were to stoop to that level and try to hurt them that way, they still wouldn't be hurt. They wouldn't give a damn. If anything, that would justify their actions because I did the same thing they did. And if anything, I'm no better than them because I wanted to stoop to their level to try to hurt them the way they hurt me. That's not me. Then I ask myself, could I ever hurt them the way they hurt me? No, because I love them. I care for them. I want to be with them. So then I ask myself, did they love me? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way they love me the way I thought they did, or the way I wish they could, or the way that they made me perceive that they did. Because look at what they did. Look how they hurt me. Look how much pain they caused me. Look how much crying. They knew I was crying. They knew I texted them. I was blowing up their phone. I was showing up for them every day. Nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that you as the individual who got cheated on didn't play a part in that, but the situation could have been handled a lot differently. Instead of getting cheated on, they could have left. If they realized that they weren't the person, you weren't the person for them, guess what they could have did? Hey, this isn't working out for me. Phew. Left the relationship. Or they could have said, hey, you know what? Right now, I don't feel like my needs and my wants are getting met. Can we talk about this? Can we work through this? Because they want to be with me, right? So why can't we talk about it? Why can't we work through it? Why can't you acknowledge the fact that I have the capability to meet your wants and your needs? I just have to understand what your wants and needs are. And maybe I thought your wants and needs were this, and they're actually not. So inform me, talk to me about it. Let's work through this. Let's be together. But you didn't even give that option. Instead, you said, hey, you pissed me off. I'm gonna go lie and I'm gonna go cheat. I'm out. It don't make sense to me. It don't. That's a thought that briefly crossed my mind when I was hurt pretty bad, but I absolutely couldn't. I feel it. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. It was my first relationship. That's why. I get that. And first relationships are hard, but it won't be your last relationship. And why settle for somebody who doesn't want to be with you compared to finding somebody who does want to be with you? I understand that it feels like an impossible task where it feels hard. You're not going to always get things right on the first time, but at least you know what you want and what you don't want to a certain extent. And once you realize that you came across something that you don't want, don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't want that, because the alternative is settling for that and being in a place of complacency and accepting that and knowing that you're going to be unhappy, but you're taking it because of something rather than what you genuinely want from a relationship. Don't settle for less than what you deserve. Why don't men understand that? Can you talk about the silent treatment? The silent treatment, in my personal opinion, is a form of manipulation, is a form of punishment. Because you piss me off, I'm gonna give you the silent treatment. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna interact with you. I'm gonna avoid you. I'm gonna do what I want to do, how I want to do it, and use that as a reason. Because you piss me off, I'm gonna use it as a reason to just act like you don't exist. And then when I'm ready to talk to you, maybe I'll talk to you. And if I'm not ready to talk to you, I'm just gonna ignore you. I feel like the silent treatment is a form of punishment. The same way, like the alternative is like, because you piss me off, I'm gonna yell and I'm gonna scream at you. I'm gonna call you names because I'm punishing you. I want you to be as hurt as I am. But the silent treatment is the same, along the same lines, but it just looks different. So because you piss me off, because you upset me, I don't want to talk to you at all. I'm just gonna ignore you. I'm gonna ignore your texts. I'm gonna ignore your calls. I'm not gonna talk to you. I don't want to interact. I want to be with you. It's like a form of abuse, in my personal opinion. He's going back on dating apps with the intent of marriage, but now I don't. But now I know I didn't lose out on him. No, you didn't. Men will find a woman that will tolerate them and keep running through each woman until he find the one that'll take their shit. You still eating that orange, bestie? I've been talking so long that I still got a whole orange in here with some grapes that I ain't even ate. I've been getting one grape here and there, but like I'll eat it eventually. It'll get ate. Like I have I am completely sober. I have stopped drinking. I have stopped smoking. I haven't had any caffeine. I am out here raw dogging life with just water, fruit, and healthiness, and I love it. I love it. Not that I had any problem with substances as far as drinking and smoking. It's just the drinking and the smoking wasn't benefiting me in any way. As a matter of fact, it was hindering me. It was hindering my health. I am 30 years old, and I ain't trying to live to like 75 and 80, but I'm trying to live to at least 60. And I feel like alcohol and Mary Jane and um, coffee just wasn't it for me. Like caffeine, Red Bulls, energy drinks, it wasn't good for me. It's not good for my heart. So I substituted that for fruit and water and salads. And I ain't completely healthy. Don't get me wrong. Like I got a whole cabinet full of snacks. I keep them things on me. And don't get me wrong either. I still keep about an ounce and a half on me at all times, just in case somebody else want a little smoky smoke, a little drinky drink. Don't get me wrong. I got 4 bottles of wine in the refrigerator ready to pop open. I got it on me. I ain't never lacking. I'm always packing. Don't get it twisted. But I just don't partake. Not saying that I won't ever do so. It's just that I needed a change in my life. I've changed mentally, I've changed emotionally, and now it's time for me to get my physical health together. And so I've been going to the gym consistently for 3 years. I am totally sober. I am living my best life. Not saying that anybody else should do the same. Not saying anybody else should follow my lead. I'm just saying that for me, this is working, and I love it. And yeah, so got my water. This is a half a gallon. I drink me a gallon a day. Give me some fruit in, a little vegetable here and there. Hold on, what you got? You got to hit them with the that's some high quality H2O. You say my mama said. Let me see. When you love someone, inflicting the same pain on them hurts you just as much, if not more. I agree because it's not you. It's not something you genuinely want to do. Getting a reaction you need from them, but only when you cry is hard. And you shouldn't have to get to that point for them to hear you or for them to see you. Like they shouldn't have to visually see you upset or in distraught or whatever the case is for them like, oh shit, maybe I should check in on my woman to say, hi, are you okay, honey? Like you should be able to say, hey, honey, I'm not okay right now. Can we talk about it? Like it shouldn't get that bad for it to be that dire. Say, yep, he keep remind me, his Pakistani family will never accept me because I'm Hispanic. That's not okay. This topic is hitting really close to home. I'm stuck on how can they really care a bit right now. Excuse me. What should I do when I receive silent treatment? I mean, I have told him about it several times. Have you asked him why he gives the silent treatment out of curiosity? Like, have you asked him like what, like when? I guess more so what I'm trying to say is, what is it about what you're saying or what you're doing that causes him to go silent? And why is going silent his first reaction? Why is he not wanting or willing to talk about it or to work through it or to tell you what it is that he needs or that he wants in that moment? So instead of going silent because you can't read minds, you don't know what's gonna happen next, you don't know what to do next. Why can't he just like say, hey, right now I just need a moment because I'm not okay and I'm uncomfortable and I want to talk to you about it, but I just need a minute to regulate my feelings and my emotions. Like more so trying to understand the reason why everything is going on and why is it happening the way that it is. That's more so what I'm getting at. Can I go up in a box? Yeah. Give me a minute.
I don't have time to stop and get chicken. I have to go down to the office and then swing by Big Mike's. And I actually need to leave right now. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, love you.
He never. He had never said he needed time to solve. Oh, that's no bueno. So I found that giving my partner the space to process will lead them to open up faster. I get that, but for somebody who's anxious people don't like to just assume that giving space is gonna solve the problem. I think what helps anxious people, because you also have to be considerate of your partner as an avoidant person, to say, hey, I need space. So because the anxious person is gonna assume worst case scenario. Oh, this person's mad at me, they hate me, they don't want to talk to me. Is something I did? Is it something I said? What did I do? What did I say that was wrong to push them away? How long are they gonna be gone for? How long are they not gonna talk to me? How long are they gonna shut down? But when you tell an anxious person, hey, I need an hour to regulate my feelings and my emotions, I'm okay, I love you, I care for you, I want to talk to you, I want to be here with you, but I just need time to work through things. Like, that helps the anxious person and provides that reassurance. And if they're not being provided the reassurance, then why wouldn't they assume worst case scenario? Hey, honey.
Hi, I'm gonna go get the bean.
Okay. Uh, like that?
Mm-hmm. I'll zip up my jacket.
Um, what's your dad barbecuing?
Chicken.
Uh,
You don't want chicken?
I want burgers. Do we have burgers in the freezer? Well, you can't. I'll check in a little bit.
I don't know, baby.
What time is it, honey?
He's going to Sam's right now for burgers.
Huh?
Ask him to get burgers.
Uh, can you can you text him and ask him to grab burgers while you're on your way? I appreciate you, darling.
Okay, love you, bye.
I love you, bye. Be so safe. Are you coming back?
Yeah, we gotta leave when I get back.
All right, baby.
See you later.
Love you, bye. Be safe.
Huh?
Said be safe.
Okay.
Hmm. Why is my wife like this? Where we at? Where we at? Just allow. Okay, there you go. You can send an invite to get in the box. Or send me someone advice that came in type. Okay, yeah, go ahead and get in the box. It should let you send an invite now.
Hi.
Hello.
Right. I don't even know where to start. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you.
So I just need a little bit of a relationship advice. I've been in a relationship for maybe almost 2 years now. The first half of the relationship, or the first like 8 months of it, he was cheating probably with like a lot. Like the first 8 months, I just constantly caught him doing something. I don't even know where to start. So he ended up cutting all the girls off of social media, and just like trying to earn my trust again. Lately, he's been wanting to go back into lives, and he's starting to bring back all the girls on the social media, adding girls, doing all the 9 yards, and I personally still feel uncomfortable with it. So I asked him if he can just not do that. And instead of, working with me, he's kind of arguing against me on how it's his social life, and he's trying to create a fan base, and kind of more blaming it on my insecurities. And I don't see where I'm wrong in it, because he's messed up many times and I still feel uncomfortable with it. But because he doesn't see a problem with it, he doesn't think it's necessary to do that. And I just don't know, we're kind of going back and forth at this point. I have an issue with it. He thinks there's no issue with it. And I don't want to be one of those girls where like, you can't have any girls. Like,
Right.
like that's not me. I'm not insecure. I know I'm a beautiful woman. But I'm uncomfortable with it still right now, because I'm still kind of developing or trying to heal from what he did. But he thinks it's an issue. with me requesting that.
So I think to him, because you've taken him back through all the cheating and all the lying, that everything's okay, that you two are, it's almost like it didn't even happen. You know what I mean? Like, if you were able to take him back after cheating, I think personally he's taking it as like, oh, well, shit, everything's good then. There's nothing's wrong, right? But I don't think and I don't feel, rather if it's by choice or by ignorance, that he's not seeing the repercussions of his decisions that he decided to make. And because he decided to make those decisions as far as cheating, as far as lying, how they are affecting you or how they have affected you. And because he hasn't done the intentional work of providing reassurance and make you feel secure in your relationship and listening to your concerns and your wants and needs, that because he hasn't done the work and also because he thinks everything is good, that it shouldn't be a problem with him having women on his social media now, because yeah, he did cheat in the past, but he's not cheating now, so it shouldn't be a problem or an issue. Reality of it is, because he hasn't done the work, it sounds, and he hasn't provided your reassurance, he hasn't been consistent with the security, that excuse me, that at this point in time you're naturally reacting because you are still, as you stated, working through the feeling and emotion of the aftermath of what he caused, and he doesn't see it as a him problem. He sees it as your problem, because you should just get over it. You should be done with it. It should already be finished and done. You should already be over the jealousy. You should already be over the insecurity, because it's no big deal, because you took him back, right? You decided to be back with him. And once again, I don't know if it's by choice or by ignorance, or he's choosing to just act like nothing happened and not do the work, or he's ignorant because he doesn't understand the effect that it had on you emotionally and mentally. But either way, when you tell him, hey, I'm uncomfortable with you interacting with other women, it should be a, hey, you need to get over it. It should be more so, okay, why are you uncomfortable with other women? Why is this making you uncomfortable? Why is this affecting you the way that it is? And that's when you open up and say, well, because I'm still working through the insecurity that you caused. I'm still working through the jealousy that you caused, because when you decide to lie, when you decide to cheat, it made me feel like I was competing against another woman. It made me feel like these other women had something that I didn't, which caused you to have, which caused them to have your attention, which caused you to leave the relationship, which caused you to not be faithful to me. And I feel like you two are kind of at a standstill. It sounds like, because there's three things that could have happened, right? The one being, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, and him going, okay, if that makes you uncomfortable, I won't do it. And he's genuinely not wanting to do it because it makes you uncomfortable, and your comfortability means more to him than him wanting to do it out of his selfishness, right? The second thing is him being like, okay, I'll stop doing it, but then continuing to do it because that's what he wants to do long term. But short term, he's gonna stop doing it because you asked him to, and he wants to, like, of course, listen to you and make sure you're comfortable. But at the same time, he also wants to do what he wants to do. So long term, he's still gonna follow these women and talk to these women and interact with these women. The third thing is him saying, well, that's just on you. They got nothing to do with me, because I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it. And you either get with it or you get lost. And it sounds like you're at the third option right now, where he's saying, well, you shouldn't have a problem with it. I'm going to do what I want to do because it's no big deal for him. But it's a huge deal to you. And if it's a huge deal to you as his partner, he should be considerate of how you feel and why you feel the way you feel, and explore that and work through that with you. But because he's not, now it's become an even bigger issue beyond just the cheating that he did previous in the relationship, which is already a huge thing. But then now him almost, I won't say reenacting, but like it's almost like he's doing the same thing again and just telling you to get over it because this is just the way it is. So as of right now, what do you feel like you want to do?
Right. I think that's where I'm stuck. So I was kind of like bickering this morning about it, because at first he was doing the second option where he like stopped for a little bit for like a week or two, and then he went right back doing it, stopped for like a week or two, went right back doing it. Um, and I think now we're at the third option, but I'm kind of like at the point where it's either you cut it out or like I have to step out.
So how long? I think the next question is, how long are you willing to wait for a change? Because realistically, that change can
Not long
happen
at all.
now.
Not long at all.
Because realistically speaking, And I don't want you to take this into any offense. And if you feel like an attack, please let me know so I can reiterate my words because it's not my intention by any means. But realistically speaking, when he shouldn't have been cheating to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was serious and genuine about making a relationship work after he cheated the first time or whenever that whole thing happened within the first year, it should have been a complete 360 turn and feelings and emotions and the intentional work that is required to put in to make a healthy relationship. So what that means is he should have been talking to you about why did he cheat and what his thought process was and dissecting this with you and making sure you're okay and doing the intentional work and doing all the things that he should have did as a partner for you prior to cheating. But because he did cheating, this is the time for him to like genuinely show up and have that intentional work that should have been done. But he hasn't. Not only has he not been doing that intentional work, but he's just been telling you to get over everything. So like, it's been what? How long did you say it's been now? You two have been together?
Almost 2 years.
It's been almost 2 years and nothing has changed.
Nothing.
So how long are you willing to wait for things to change? Because in the meantime, when things are not changing, you're still feeling insecure, you're still feeling jealous, you're still feeling upset, you still have anxiety, you're still checking over his shoulder to see who he's talking to and who he's interacting with and what he's doing. You know what that's doing? That's taking away from you. It's taking away from your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health for you as an individual, but then it's also taking away from other aspects of your life when it comes to your family, your friends, your experiences, because all you can think about is your partner who's not intentionally doing the work as a grown ass adult because they know exactly what needs to be done. They're just choosing not to do it because they feel like it's not necessary because they don't feel the way you feel, so it's not necessary for them to change. But if they cared about you and they wanted to be with you, then what would they do? They would take you into consideration and realize that actions have consequences. And because he decided to be selfish and go cheat, well, now he has to. Let me change that. Because he was adult enough and man enough to go cheat, he should be adult enough and man enough to deal with the aftermath of his woman being hurt because of the pain that he put her through his selfish decisions that he decided to make for his own selfish reasons. And because he's not doing that, now you're waiting in limbo, waiting for a change for an individual who's telling you and showing you through their actions and through their words, hey, this is no big deal to me, so I'm going to continue to do these things. And he's actually continuing to do these things. You should have to consistently ask him, hey, I need you to stop. Can you stop this, please? Can you please stop? I need you to stop. Can you stop at this time? Can you stop? Can you stop? Like, how many times do you need to read? He's not a child. He's a grown-ass adult who understands the circumstances, who understands what he has done. Rather, once again, if it's through choice or through ignorance, he understands. He gets it. So how long are you willing to wait for somebody to change? And what's unfortunate is that a lot of the times, let's say hypothetically you were to leave and he acknowledges that you're leaving or that you're about to leave, guess what he's going to do? Hey, I can change. I can become different. I can become a loyal, faithful man to you now because I realize that that's what you need and that's what you crave when it comes to a relationship. So I can be that man in order for you to stay. And the change is only temporary until he starts doing the same thing again and again and again, because that's not what he really wants to do, is to be a faithful, loyal man. Because if he did, it shouldn't require all this work and effort on your part where you're not the one who caused the problems and the issues in the relationship. It was him. So it's not that he doesn't know that it's not that it's the ignorance part, because he knows what needs to be done. So it's the other option of he has to make the choice to do it. And right now he's not making that choice. So we can rule out the ignorance because we already know, because you've told him how many times over 2 years that things need to look different and feel different, and he haven't. So it's not that he's lacking the capability, because as you stated before, he stopped, but then he started again. Then he stopped, and then he started again. Then he stopped, and then he started again. So he's able to stop. He's just choosing not to. So now it's by choice. So now you realize that he's making a choice not to be faithful. Where does that leave you? So how long are you willing to wait for a change?
No, I don't know. Not very long. I think I'm at my breaking point.
And
Yeah.
I think unfortunately that sometimes some people have to get to the point of almost hating the person they're with to acknowledge it's time to leave, because they genuinely see the potential of who this person could become and how amazing of an individual they are as a human being, as a person. They might be a genuine, amazing person, attractive, fantastic, amazing when everything's good. But right now, everything's not good. And it absolutely could be. He could right now, within an hour, say, you know what? my relationship with you is more important than all these other women. And other women aren't even a problem necessarily. It's the fact that he's not doing the work that is required to reassure you, to provide you security, to let you know, like, hey, these other women aren't a factor. And you can build a social life on social media. But you also have to be considerate of your woman. But because he's not considerate of his woman and his priority is building his life on social media with these other women, it's more of a problem now. He could change right now, but because in present day, right now, he hasn't done the intentional work and he hasn't changed, you're at the point of wanting to leave.
Yeah, I think I'm at the point where it's just kind of like, I'm like hating him day by day. And like, I don't want to get there.
You don't want to get there, but I think it's inevitable because the longer you stay, the longer you're gonna hate him and hold resentment of who he could be, but who he's choosing not to change. Who he could be, but he's choosing not to change to become that person to fulfill that potential of who he could be, so he could be a healthy person for you to be with.
Right. And yeah, he said that too, Chris. He did mention today. He said that nothing I do will ever like that he's changed completely. I haven't changed, and that nothing he does is good enough, and all that.
I think your mic got muted.
My apologies. I
You're
don't know
fine.
if that cut off.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of arguing today about it because I gave him the ultimatum, like, not the ultimatum, but I told him, like, that makes me feel uncomfortable, like, cut it out. And he was like, well, I don't see a problem with it. Like, you're the only one, like, everybody thinks you're crazy. I'm the crazy one. But, he kind of is like, nothing I do is good enough. That he's changed completely and that I haven't, but he's still doing the same things. So I guess it's just time.
Actions are louder than words in a lot of cases. It's easy for somebody to tell you, "Oh, I changed and I'm different," but then like, if you changed and you were different, then why am I still feeling the same way? You know.
Right.
I feel like you know the answer.
Yeah.
You know what you want to do. It's just what happens after you make the decision to do it is more so where the uncertainty lies, I feel. Because what does life look like without him? What does life look like if you're not in this relationship? What does life look like after everything's said and done?
Lonely.
And you're not lonely. You have people around you.
Lonely.
So the alternative is you stay in a relationship where you have anxiety, where you're stressed out, where you're uncomfortable, versus being alone. And the only person you have to worry about as of right now is you until you decide to get into another relationship with another individual, if you decide to do that.
Right.
But don't let the fear of being alone outweigh the situation that you're in right now. Because as of right now, he has had ample amount of opportunity to become that man, to change and to do the work, and he hasn't. And for him to tell you that everybody thinks you're crazy, who the fuck are you talking to when it comes to our situation? For people to think that I'm crazy in our situation, have you told them what you did? You know what I mean? Like if there's 17 people in this live right now, and you just told your side. Granted, there's three sides. There's your side, there's his side, and there's the side in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. There's your perspective, his perspective, and the truth in the middle. But you just told your perspective to 17 people, and all 17 people agreed with you. It's not that you're trying to make him look like the bad guy. You're just simply saying that he cheated, and I took him back. And in the midst of me taking him back, he still hasn't changed. And now people think I'm crazy because I took him back and I can't get over what he did. But he hasn't done anything to reconcile or to change the situation. But you're a crazy one? So what perspective is he telling other people to make him feel like or sound like the good guy?
Right. He did. Oh my God! It's so much more worse. He ended up admitting, like, I don't know why I'm laughing, but like 2 months ago, I gave him the same ultimatum. I was like, you either cut it out or I just can't do this, dude. Like, I can't keep going. And instead of working with it, he he ended up doing the whole like high school child thing, like I'm gonna hurt myself. He ended up hurting himself and he went into a mental, he admitted himself in. And while he admitted himself in, I guess like everybody blamed it on me for putting him there. Because I was the last person he was arguing with. So like his whole family, like his friends, everybody think that like I'm crazy because I put him there. But it's tough. It's a tough situation.
I feel like as of right now, you're gonna make the decision one way or another.
Right.
Either through time or by choice. You're either gonna stay in that relationship long enough to where you get sick of the bullshit and you're gonna leave, or you're gonna make the choice and say, you know what, I'm sick of the bullshit and I'm gonna leave. I think that fear of being alone is what's keeping you in a relationship. Otherwise, if you knew how like short term, I'm not gonna lie to you, short term being alone, it might suck because this is new to you. You don't have that comfortability of like not being able to talk to him, not being able to hang out with him, not being able to spend time because you're used to a certain routine because you've been with him for so long. This is a big part of your life, right? But in the same sense, once you get used to the routine of being without him, you realize how less stressful it is, how beautiful it is to not have to look over your shoulder or to look over his shoulder to wonder who he's talking to or who he's with or to constantly argue, constantly fight, constantly stress out about the things. And I can tell you all these things, but it's a difference between me telling you and a difference between you experiencing it.
Right.
And I think that once you get to a point where you experience it, and even if that requires you to break up with him and then he comes back and all of a sudden gives you the sob story, you're like, you know what, let's try this again. Then he ends up being the same person, and then you break up with him again, you get back with him again, and he gives you a sob story, you break up with him. Even if you have to repeat the cycle 2, 3 times, eventually you get to a point where you say, you know what, enough is enough. I love me. I'm beautiful. I appreciate me, and I deserve a hell of a lot better than what this man's giving me. And if he's got his nose up all these other women's asses, then hey, more power to him. But I'm gonna go find a man who wants to be with me, who wants to see me, and who doesn't want to see me hurt. And I think that inevitably you're gonna get to that point one way or another. But I think it's just a matter of time, or it's gonna be by choice. I don't know which one's gonna happen, but I think that you know the answers to the situation because it sounds like as of right now, present day, he's gonna stay the same person. If he stays the same person and he's constantly making you feel the way that you feel, it's inevitable that you get to that point.
Right. All right. Well, I do want to thank you for hearing me out.
You are definitely more than welcome. I'm glad you came up here, and I hope and I wish you the best. And always protect your peace and your happiness. You deserve to be happy. You deserve love. You deserve to be cared for. All the things that you're willing to give is all the things that you're deserving to receive.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. I hate, 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 I hate. When I say hate, there's not a lot of things I hate in this world. There's not a lot. There's not a lot. And I'm a very easygoing, laid back person who enjoys the world no matter how shitty it is. I understand people are who they are. I get it. I understand. If you don't want the relationship, leave that fucking woman alone. Leave her alone. You can entertain all these women while you're single. You can laugh, ha ha, kiki with all these women. You don't gotta worry about cheating on nobody because you're single. So you can go sleep with as many women as you want, love as many as you want. This woman just wants to love you. This woman just wants to care for you. This woman just wants to cherish you. She wants to be with you. She wants to appreciate you. She wants to adore you. She wants to grow with you. She wants to do all the things with you. So much that she's willing to give you another opportunity and another opportunity and another opportunity for you to show up and be present in her life. Just be authentic, be yourself, be loyal. Be loyal. That's it. Just be loyal. And if you don't want to, there's no obligation. There's no contract. There's not a gun to your head. There's nobody forcing you to do so. But when you don't, and you act like you want to, that's when there's a problem. If you are not that person, don't portray yourself as that person. What I mean by that person is, if don't portray yourself as somebody who wants to be in a loyal, committed relationship. If you don't be loyal and committed, it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. You are not a bad person. But when you go to the extent of being an evil villain, creating all this havoc, creating all these problems, creating all these issues, and then placing blame on the other person as if you play no part in this, and then having the world think, and first and foremost, who gives a fuck about other people's opinion? But for you to go and make yourself feel good and stroke your own little ego and say, "Oh, I didn't do nothing wrong. She's just crazy. She made me go into the mental ward." Then why'd you get back with her? If she's this bad of a woman to make you go in the mental ward, and this is somebody who been in the mental ward 2-3 times. I've been in there 2-3 times with the grippy socks and a gown with the ass out. I have been in there not because of a woman, but just because of stress, real life shit that I caused within myself. If you are in there because this woman has put you through that much stuff, and you get back with the same woman, it's almost like she wasn't that bad, was she? It's almost like you're the crazy one for going back to a woman who you consider to be crazy and to hurt you, to put you there in the first place. I hate men. Hate them. Hate them. And there's two different categories of men. There's men who you rather choose a bear over, and there's men who will go in the woods with you to go pet a bear. And right now, choose the bear. Choose the bear. Choose the bear. Not just any bear. The biggest fucking grizzly intimidating bear, choose the bear. Choose the bear. Choose them. Choose them. I gotta go. I gotta go for my blood pressure. I also gotta go because my wife's gonna be home pretty soon, and she told me that I needed to be ready by the time she got back, or else, and I don't want no smoke with my wife, because she might be 5 something, but I don't want no problems with that woman. I love my wife, I love my woman, I respect her, and she told me to be ready, so I'm gonna be ready because I don't want no smoke. I love y'all. Lady Bugsy, thanks for the donation. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Before you all leave, just know that the live is recorded and it will be on YouTube. So if you all want to revisit the live, please do so. The live is on YouTube. Once it uploads and it gets on there and everything, it's probably going to take a minute because it's a long upload. It's a long video. But yeah, if you all want to revisit the live, please feel free from here on out. I think I'm going to go live on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, so that way the lives are automatically recorded on YouTube. But just keep in mind that the questions in the chat won't be on YouTube, but I try my best to read everything that's on TikTok screen, so that way hopefully it correlates to the YouTube video, even though you all won't see the dialogue on YouTube. Please feel free, check it out. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate everybody who's here giving their input, giving their insight, giving their opinion, popping up to the conversation, showing up every day. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I care for y'all immensely. Y'all are so fucking amazing. I hope y'all have a good day. I hope y'all have a great day. I hope y'all have a good weekend if I don't see y'all again.